I feel like I sat in my chair really funny yesterday or even today because my back is rather sore. So if I'm constantly grunting and you hear chair noises, that's just because I'm getting up, stretching my legs a little bit. But not about stretching legs. Let's we'll start the stream and we'll chat about I got an AI story, so we're back. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. It is the Biendeo stream today on this fine 16th of March 2026. I hope you're having a wonderful week, or it's been 5 days since the last stream, and you will have a wonderful week ahead of you. But no, let's dive into the game. We're doing more Pokémon Colosseum as always. 3 days. Yes, I have a hard time for the Wii launch, if you're referring to that. And I'm not mentioning it because they said, please do not mention it. And so I'm like, okay. It's on the tentative day anyways. It's like, oh, whatever. So that's all good. But yeah, no, I guess, yeah. Floodgates. Yeah, floodgates are going to open on the Retro Achievements website for the Wii launch. We'll know soon well enough if Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock runs well. Greetings, Bob. We'll know soon well if it runs well on other people's computers because no one is... not to say I really demanded it. We are going to grind a bit more Mount Battle because I'm really not comfortable with the Mr. Star... I basically said hi. That's about it. Abra, do your thing. Briefly today, yeah, the time zones are getting all weird because the US has now had the daylight savings kick in, and music change, we are about to have our daylight savings kick out. I think we still got, hold on, let me check. It's always in the first Sunday of April, so this stream inclusive, there's 3 more streams, and then I'll announce a time difference. But yeah, as always. Yeah, I know, yeah, the US has that. I don't know when everywhere else in the world does, but generally it's around this time. But yeah, no, I feel kind of tired because, I don't know, I've just been sitting in my chair really weird. I will, heads up, sup Tom? So heads up, I have an IKEA Marcus. I've been using it for maybe, it's probably about 4 years now. And maybe it was fine for like a few months, and now it's been like, it's constantly shrimping me, and it just doesn't, I don't know, it's not really lumbering my back. It feels very weird to commit to the full Herman Miller treatment, but at some point, you gotta do it. Like, there's no alternative. Obviously as well, you don't have to get a new Herman Miller, you can get used ones, maybe, if you're in the US, for under 1,000. In Australia, under 2,000, depending on where you look, you might be able to get something good. But to me, I'm like, yeah, like anything over $1,000 feels like a really notable investment. And I know it's a chair. My back will love me when it's good. I know that. But do I commit? Is it worth that? I don't know. Maybe in my age, it might be getting there. I'm getting old, guys. I'm getting real old. Every time, like, you know, I don't know, I don't feel that old, and then the filter seems to be if your birth year starts with a 1, now you get to be old, because there's people who are 26 who, you know, who are 2000 babies, and that's not that much younger than me, but it's like, oh my gosh, it feels like an eternity, but it actually doesn't. I don't know. I always say in the age of information, though, a lot of people have conformed their dialects and all that stuff. Like, I know people will mention, like, Gen Alpha humor and stuff like that, but people do pick up on it a lot quicker than maybe previous generations may have formerly done that, because people are sort of cross-communicating and reading stuff from all ages all the time. Also, whenever I feel one symptom, even if it's something physical, like just me sitting on my back weird, I don't know, every symptom comes through. So if I'm sniffly, you know the drill, it's always that. But gosh, it's paralysis though, I tell ya. I love the volcano in the back though. I'm a big fan of volcanoes. So, It's great. And I got my, not Mount Franklin, because they don't sell Mount Franklin in my local Coles anymore, so it's the Coles Australian Natural Spring Water, as always. So... and they keep changing the bottles for some reason, and I'll never be able to understand it, so... But yeah, no, I hope you're having a great week. It's been pretty alright for me. I'm most of the way through Tales of Phantasia on the SNES, and I'll give a proper final thoughts next week, but my rough opinion right now, before I really formulate everything, is it might be one of the prettiest and well-presented SNES games I've ever played. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It kind of plays a bit weird. It has a lot of quirks with the way it plays. Will I be able to beat... well, no one is going to be able to beat or master Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock. I can guarantee that. Someone out there might actually be able to, like, full ban 5-star. And, I mean, that's really all I expect, because we're not doing anything too weird. But I don't think anyone's done that for World... Oh, no, one person. One mad lad's done that for World Tour, so... you've got to commit for Warriors of Rock. These guys are... rock, but not ground. So, thunder is actually safe. Unless it misses, then it's not safe. Oh yeah, like you're probably gonna get like Imagine Party Babies or something, you know? Rayman Raving Rabbids 1? We've already got the PS2 game with a set, I think. So, but there's bound to be some easy ones. I haven't been to too many GameCube sets, so... But I mean, you know, I don't really like rush play out like all the games that come out because it's so hard to keep up. And there's bound to be games that I find really interesting that I just like pick up and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, here's an example. I picked up Downhill Domination on the PS2, and I've never heard of this game before. And I'm like, I'm falling in love. This game is absolutely spectacular. I'm like, how on earth, like, how did this like exist? How come Sony publishes this game and just like never mentions that they made an insanely good downhill BMX game? It's solid as, so that's good fun. Again, I'll have more to say about it when I play it more. Not going to master the Retro Achievement set though, because it does have a set. It's very much a do the game again and again with every character kind of set, so I think I'll leave it at a comfy amount. Although I did play through a game that was that, and I'll talk about that one, which is Grind Session, also on the PS1, also published by Sony, first party. Developed by a studio, I forgot their name off the top of my head, but they later on did the Tony Hawk 3 PS1 port, so backporting Tony Hawk 3 to the PS1. I think they also did like one of the later Tony Hawk backports as well. But this comes before all of that, when they were making a competitor skateboarding game, and it doesn't really have all the same pro skaters, or really that many. I don't recognize any of the pro skaters, but they're bound to be real pro skaters in some variety. But in a world where Tony Hawk 1 exists, how do you copy Tony Hawk 1? And the answer is you literally copy Tony Hawk 1. So the buttons are the same. It has a real skate park. It actually might have two, maybe. I had to look that up. But it's got a lot of fantastical ones in some variety. It's got a few licensed songs. And other than that, there's a couple of streamlined things. Like, you don't have to worry about gaps per map anymore, or money or upgrades. It's just like, I don't know, you just use your skills, and you have to get a score on each level, as well as also do all the lines. I guess I kind of like the gaps, but you just hit R2 and it shows you where they are. You also have to knock over 10 items. Annoyingly, you have to do all of at least one of those in one sitting, and the time limit for each stage, instead of 120 seconds, or 2 minutes, it's 1 minute 30. So you're kind of on the clock like right off the bat to get stuff happening, which is a bit mean. It's a bit mean. This might be a weird one, so I'm going to swap Suicune now, and we'll switch to... Espeon needs a little bit of love. Yeah, maybe. But Grind Session doesn't do anything better than Tony Hawk 1. And, you know, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but it actually is, like, it's just an imitation. Like, the things that I found really suffered was, one, the stages were a bit uninspired, and none of the, not to say the designs or the places you go to, but none of the lines really led to anything. It's just a bunch of like rails and stuff and jumps without really any meaning or purpose. The moves don't buffer as well. If you ever played a Tony Hawk game, if you're doing a move and your character's animating, you just hit the next move. You just input the next thing, and you'll do it when your move is currently finished. It's great. It allows you to execute a move right away. It makes everything feel fluid. Doesn't happen in grind session. You just, I don't know, you just awkwardly don't do anything, and so you're mashing the buttons wondering why nothing's happening. Constantly worrying about that. I generally find that the objectives are like, whatever, like, you know, you do them and that's it. I guess maybe if you get good at any Tony Hawk game, maybe they all feel like that, but it really does feel like some of the levels just don't quite get you to, I guess, do everything. How would I put it? I don't really have enough meaningful things to make the objectives feel worthwhile. And on top of that, the scores are always too easy because there is a cheap strat, and the cheap strat exists because doing vert tricks really doesn't earn you that many points. So you just have to do grind, ollie, kickflip, grind, ollie, kickflip, all on the same rail again and again and again. In Tony Hawk, if you ever grind onto the same rail, you're allowed to do it once. Once you do it twice, it punishes you afterwards. It tells you, hey, like, your balance is going to go all out of whack now. That's what you get for constantly trying to gain tricks on the same rail. But grind session doesn't have that. It just punishes you just generally for being on a rail for a long amount of time. So you might as well spam that, get like 8 or 10 times combos, and then basically get all your pro scores like that. So the bonus levels are a bit lackluster as well. Just a bit lame, I don't know. The bonus characters are cool. I like that. But there's not a lot to say, really. It doesn't really do anything better than Tony Hawk, and especially, you know, once we start looking at Tony Hawk 2 and 3, which came out very soon afterwards, it's like, yeah, like, there's a lot that you could easily add to the Tony Hawk 1 experience to make it better, and they just didn't. It just does nothing new, really, so... would I recommend it? Maybe as a curiosity. Certainly if you grew up with it, it's not like a bad game, really, but... I don't know, you're comparing it with really close to masterpiece games, and especially ones that came out right around its time, so you know, it doesn't really get a lot of points in my book, unfortunately, but it's alright. I will mention Downhill Domination has Black Eyed Peas, Let's Get It Started, except not that version. It has the actual studio version. Yeah, we have Tony Hawk at home, yeah, exactly. I'm kind of impressed that, like, they managed to do that version. I'm not mentioning it just for the, you know, the mentions of saying the word. I don't know why. Maybe not Twitch, but YouTube gets very antsy if you mention that word, so... I'm on the George Russell number. He won the race. No, he didn't, actually. Let's not risk it. Yeah, I usually don't risk the stuff. I try to keep my streams pretty PG anyways. And I feel like mentioning things willy-nilly is always like, it's the easiest way. You can reference them, but you can't say them. It's really weird. Different I mean, it's the same music from the start of the stream, but yeah, no, I like the music. Ninjask is a mini zucchini, so I'm gonna take that, even though I know Dodrio could also be a mini zucchini. Yeah, double team is not gonna be nice. And I used thunder on him, so let's hope this actually hits. Nah. I'm gonna have to do a rain dance then. Furry attack? Oh no. Good old Dodrio. Yeah, no, F1, we had another race this previous weekend. I didn't go to this one in person, because otherwise I'd be very dead right now. I don't think the timing's going to work on this one. I think Raiku's going to attack first. But if you hit, I'm happy days. Happy chappy. Yeah. But no, they had the second F1 race of the season in China. Literally the week after. I think on the same day I was driving up from Melbourne, every F1 driver was on a plane straight to China, basically. Unless you're Arvind Lindblad, and he was in India for a day. Just so I was curious. But yeah, no, the race was, it kind of played out a lot of the same as last week, where you had the Ferraris and the Mercedes. There you go, yeah, F1 talk. We had the Ferrari and the Mercedes sort of bout in the first few laps, both in the sprint race and in the feature race, I guess. And but then eventually, you know, the Mercedes kind of came out ahead. So there was that. But what I did like is that the Ferraris had such a free rein behind them, and they didn't run a safety car beyond the first couple. I think it was like 10 laps in, and then eventually they bunched up again, and then, you know, eventually the pack spread out. But the Ferraris were very free to race, and I feel like, you know, as long as they don't crash, I'm not going to get upset if they ever do crash, but you know, as long as they don't crash, if they're on tracks that feel like you can play around with that a little bit, it's actually really good fun seeing them just go forward, overtake each other, come back, you know, recharge, do all that stuff. And I hope they had a really good time. I think Charles Leclerc on the radio said, you know, this was a really fun race that he had, even if, you know, he only got 4th. What we did have was Lewis Hamilton ending up on the podium, which is, he didn't get a podium last year, so he's very happy that he now has a trophy as a Ferrari driver, so that's cool. I think he's had a sprint podium, to be fair. I think he had, at some point. But also, Kimi Antonelli was on the top of the order, and he hasn't won a race until now, so good on him. George was still second as well, but it was good fun having a, you know, because he's first, it's like, oh, someone from his team gets to get the Constructors' Trophy. He had his race engineer, Bono, come up, who was Lewis's race engineer, so it was a very nice moment. Toto Wolff shakes Lewis's hand and that kind of stuff. Like, I think everyone was happy about the outcome of this race. I think on the way to get there, you know, it still took its time, and it's a little predictable in some way. Certainly, though, the controversies come from what was further down. So, usually we've been kind of expecting either the Red Bulls or the McLarens to be teams 3 and 4. Both McLarens failed to start. Oscar Piastri had his install lap, and then on the, I guess in the install, he, you know, he said, oh my gosh, Paris Song in a double battle is mean. That's so mean. That's really mean. But he had his install lap, whereas Lando Norris, he was immediately spotted as like, his car is not starting. He's not able to get anywhere. And both drivers failed to start, which was very bizarre, very odd. Now, obviously, Oscar Piastri crashed his car on the formation lap. No, on the install lap. It was on the install last or the week before in Melbourne, and I was there, and everyone was a bit sad. And so imagine coming here and it's like, yeah, Oscar Piastri still hasn't like been in the race. He was in the sprint race. He did fine. He did all right. He got some points. So paint split. Ew. We'll just go through that. So, weirdly as well, Max Verstappen's engine also died pretty close to the end of the race. I think there were like 10 or so laps left. I think he managed to wheel it into the pits, not stop the race in any way, but he was like, yeah, can't shift gears. It's just stuck. So, rip him. If you like your Max Verstappen, hopefully he does well in the Nürburgring this weekend coming up. He's doing a 24-hour race in person, which would be good fun. And usually, I think a Formula 1 driver, what is the point of mean looking in this game? You can't run. You can't run anywhere. Ah, come on. Come on with fake out. But yeah, no, hopefully it does alright. Max is dedicated. He can always do amazing in really any category he's in. So hopefully he has a good time at the very least. But his teammate still got the points. Isaac Hadjar, so that's good after not being able to finish last week. And there goes Raikou. RIP. Pretty sure you could just switch out on the Perish song, but that's okay. Everyone heals between battles, so this is a bit of a weird one though, I'll tell you that. That's okay. Who else? Obviously both Aston Martins didn't finish. Gabriel Bortoletto's car didn't start as well, which was a bit curious because the Psybeam hit him or no? No, because he's Dark type. Well, I can't do anything with Oh, actually, Espeon's gonna cop something, isn't he? Yeah, a little bit. That's okay. Yeah, kind of curious because the Audi got knocked out or didn't start as well last week. I think we had one other failure, which was we had one of the Williams. I think Alex Albon, his car didn't start after Carlos Sainz's car didn't start last week. Also curious. So we'll definitely see. Also, I should note as well in I think it was in qualifying 3, George Russell. His car kind of stalled a bit, and he couldn't switch out of gear. He managed to get it working again, and managed to get a lap, which put him second on the grid in the qualifying. But I think the only car that we haven't really seen any reliability issues out of is the Ferrari. So keep that in mind. I'm going to look like this lady in a bit. Keep that in mind for the rest of the season, because it seems like everyone has, you know, some weird reliability stuff all over the place. And if you're Aston Martin, yeah, that's actually a big problem. If you're a Cadillac fan, you'll be pleased to know both cars finished. And they were also only 1 lap down, as opposed to 3, so they're closer. They were a decent bit closer than they were last week. Still not close enough to really get past anyone, but close enough to have, you know, some goes. So good on him. Very good on him. Am I an idiot again? No, I'm not. Because Girafford's just normal type, isn't he? No, he's normal dark. I keep forgetting. I'm so bad with remembering some types here and there. It's been ages. Oh well. I know as well, it's 2nd gen. This should actually be my forte, but I don't know. It starts going out of the muscle memory, remembering which types exist, and then also which are the weird kinds of type effects are actually, like, you know, your cup of tea or not. Yeah, let's just start hitting Azumarill with the Psychic, or with the special. Unless he's a special wall. I think he's a health wall. Yeah, he's a health wall. But otherwise, yeah, solid race. Still solid. I think that's a good thing. Everyone's ripping on the regulations, and I do hate the reliability. Because it builds drama, certainly, but it's like, it's not fun for the drivers to have their cars conk out on them. Because you want to see them do well, but, you know, at the very least, it is universal. As a spectator, though, all the overtaking seems to be quite good fun. I'm curious how long they'll keep it up, but we did have 2 races get cut off the calendar. So they'll be in Japan in 2 weeks, and then I think there was another 2 weeks, and then they do Bahrain and then Saudi Arabia in the weeks after. They're cancelled. Those 2 are cancelled. They obvious reasons. It's not really the safest to be there. So yeah, they're not going there right now. Maybe if timelines, you know, play out nice, they might show up there. Yeah, sorry, they said it won't happen in April, and they're showing calendars without those races existing. There may be an opportunity to slot in those races later in the year. I think it's much easier to, like, it's virtually impossible to really, like, set up a circuit, like, right now to be Formula 1 ready for sometime later in the year. But obviously, if there's an existing circuit where they're like, hey, we can run 2 weekends if you want, or if these places are fine in October or something like that, they might be able to fly over there and slot them in. So it will depend. We'll see. I'm curious about whether either of those tracks would have been good fun. I guess we'll know if they ever do go back there. They could do them in August. Yeah, they could. I don't think there's any hard reason why they couldn't run them, unless obviously the war continues to go on. In which case, yeah, okay, they won't run them this year, I guess. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, the short answer is they're not going to run them in 4 weeks. We'll say that. I think it's good to at least make the call now, because you don't want people a week out to suddenly not have the race. And it's just like, oh, okay. Saudi Arabia has always been a bit of a weird one to me, just because I think it's a very fast track. It's usually been a bit Red Bull centric. It's fast, but the turns are quite sweeping, and so the cars that are quite grippy seems to do the best. It also is maybe one of the most prone to massive crashes, should anyone really crash out. Hasn't happened in a while, but back when Mick Schumacher, I think, had a really bad crash in a practice session. It was, like, not bad as in he got deeply injured. You know, the cars are mega safe since 2020, but certainly it's like, yeah, like, it's not fun for the repairs, at least. So, we'll see, but I'm still somewhat positive on this year. I think we're getting some interesting storylines, unless it's like we start getting like 5 races in and it's like, okay, the Mercedes seem to just be insanely dominant and no one can catch up with them. I think it's fair to have like a dominant year. Not fair, but you know what I mean. It's like, I think if you haven't had a dominant year in a little bit, you deserve to have a dominant year. I don't think people should be like too upset and complaining about, oh, Mercedes dominance could bore fans, because it's like we've had this, every year. There's always like someone. There's always one team that's just like, oh yeah, no, they're decently up there. Except for last year was kind of the weird one. But I'm pretty sure, what was it, 2023, when Max won like every race except 3, and his teammate won 2 of those, and Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari won the last one. Don't comment on the number. Don't comment on the number. Further. Ugh. I don't know of any furthers, I'm sorry. Sneasel! He never won in the... Nah, he never has. It's always been an unlucky track for him, but I think generally it's also been a bit unlucky just for the Red Bulls full stop, you know? Like... I don't know what's happening there, so... okay, don't hit Sneasel with Psychic. Whatever you do. I know to watch out for that one. What is he, Dark Ice? Yeah. The Fett GP. Ah, come on, Swallow. You can't do this to me. So. But yeah, other than that, I'm always, I always love talking about the technology news, and we're almost about to have the technology news, because the, what is it, the GDC, the Game Developer Conference, is coming right up. Is it GDC? GTC, sorry. What is the acronym? Not game. GPU Technology Conference. Sorry. Also, it's specifically NVIDIA's event. So, NVIDIA is going to talk about stuff in a day, I think. Or a couple of days, maybe. But then also other companies go, well, if NVIDIA's doing it, then we better do it as well. F1 23 at the mall a few days ago. It is a tricky game. It is tricky. If you enable enough assists, like obviously I think if you're playing at a mall, you probably have like a wheel setup. They're hard on the wheels. They're very tricky games on the wheels. So I'll definitely attest to that. But if you play with a controller, yeah. If you're playing with a controller, it's not too bad. But it's still like there is a rhythm. And obviously, if you goof it up, it's really punishing because they kind of want you to play it, you know, legit. If you're slow, you should really just play it slow, play it safe, like the real F1. Really be a Cadillac driver, you know. So there is that. What are we expecting out of Nvidia's GTC? An F1 guidebook. Ooh, what did they tell you? Oh, it is weird that the new F1 game that's going to come out in June or something, it's always June, it's not going to have this year's regulations because they were like, we did not have enough time to figure this out. So it's going to be a 2025 regulations with 2026 looking cars, but they're technically going to use DRS. Maybe they'll have overtake mode, but still. What's the Vigoroth doing? It did! It won Best Sound, I believe. I didn't even realize it was nominated for Best Picture. I'm like, listen, I like that movie, but it's like, I liked it as a bit of popcorn. I didn't like it in terms of like, is this really like, you know, like the Best Picture of the year? What makes an Oscar Best Picture? I'll never really know, but certainly if you just boil it down to sound, which is still somewhat subjective, but it's like, yeah, you know, you can at least go, hey, which movie sounds great? It sounded pretty good. So, I liked it. I don't see many movies. I saw that one. There we go. No more Coles water. I'm hopefully hydrated. Hopefully. I don't know what to expect at GTC. Will Nvidia, the 98th Academy Awards, mark the first iteration of the Oscars in which voting is conducted with an enforced rule ensuring that all members must view every nominee? That is interesting that apparently they didn't have to watch the movies that they voted on, but then again, it's also like, yeah, there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies out there. Like, certainly, if you were to watch every Oscar-nominated movie, you're probably watching at least, like, 50, 60 movies. I don't know, if they go for 2 or even 2.5 hours, it's like, it is their job. That is true. Like, and especially, I feel like you should know who's nominated, and then go, hey, we're gonna watch, like, 2 of these movies every day. Even if you were to do, like, okay, just Monday to Friday, yeah, you might be able to get that in 5 or 6 weeks. And I think you've got enough time to figure that out. If you wanted to do 3 movies a day, you could cram it even better. But I feel like 2 is probably a comfy number. So, yeah. Anyways, I don't know what to expect at a GTC. We'll see what happens at the GTC. Let's see if we can do a swap out to Suicune and Entei, and Raikou on this one. Darn Sharpedo, you know, it throws you off every time. But yeah, I really don't know what to expect. I do want there to be a Blackwell small form factor card. Similar to how the Ada generation had one. That'd be cool. But honestly, I don't know. I feel like we're probably going to see that, and maybe not really much on the consumer side. It's going to be all the regular AI talks from Nvidia. Check out Omniverse. Check out robots. Check out my terrible statements about how strong Jensen is. He always flexes his strength. Nah, I don't know, it's good fun, but it's like, oh my gosh, it really is like a bit of a broken record. It's like Nvidia is always pioneering, and they're always doing some wild stuff, and yeah, it's like none of it really trickles down to me anymore. It used to, but now it doesn't. So, Who knows? Also, I didn't even realize they ran 4 GTCs last year. Like, that's why I keep thinking, it hasn't been that long, has it? Yeah, they ran 4 of them. It's kind of crazy. I don't know how they managed to do that. Or how they managed to even have any announcements at all. Who knows? But, you know, once every quarter... Yeah, is this a quarterly update now? I mean, I know you got a lot of money, but dang, you know, like, you could just do a earnings report over a Zoom call. Or if, I used to work for a fan company, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm seeing, like, I'm not going to mention which one, but I think people will go, like, I love seeing people message me about it, because they're like, oh my gosh, like, they actually decimated their workforce. That probably narrows it down quite a lot, and it's like, yeah, it's been happening for a while. So, maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe, are all the tech companies not... I don't want to say all of them are consolidating, that's not the right word, but how would I put it? Dominoes are falling. I think we're seeing a lot of cracks, especially, I always cite Oracle as a company with a lot of cracks. Nvidia, obviously, as a hardware vendor, will do fine, but at some point, it's like, yeah, like when someone falls or pulls out or something like that, and we're starting to see it a little bit. We're seeing some companies be caught into the mix, and they're going, hey, you know, let's not... It is, it's the nice number. I'm not too sure if I would classify these Pokemon as fitting in with the theme, but... Darn Intimidate, I tell ya. Is Pupitar just bug ground? I don't think he's anything weird. Bug ground? He is bug, isn't he? Or is he just actually ground? I've completely forgotten. We'll take a crack at the final few fights, of course, but again, it's like, I'm not feeling like I'm really getting many levels on this one. That tongue was not attached to his head. But like, I'm really not feeling like we're getting, you know, these fights are taking longer and longer, and yet, I'm not feeling the levels come up. I didn't readjust the experience share as well, did I? Or is it, it's still on Entei though, isn't it? I gotta double check. Yeah, it's still on Entei. Oh, he's level 53, jeez, I've been stacking him a bit. Distracted right at the beginning, so daylight saving starts for us in Germany in 13 days. That's why I mean, some places in Europe it's late March and not, like, not quite in April, so your daylight savings shifts forward an hour. Yeah, you're shifting forward an hour, and then I'm going back an hour. We're going back an hour? Yeah, we're going back an hour. So it would be 12:30 for you eventually, yeah. That's why it always throws people off, and I do wonder if it's like, you know, like, I mean, how would I put it? I can't start my stream earlier, though, because otherwise then it's like, oh, now I gotta start at, like, 6:30, and, you know, I'm not always available at 6:30 to do a stream, local time, so I just stick to the local time and hope for the best. It is a bit of a shame, because, honestly, yeah, like, you know, most of my viewership, you guys included, are not in Australia, so it's always fun for the, figuring out the time zones and all that jazz. The noon streams incoming. Just because I'm unemployed at the moment, I'm really, it's so irritating. I mentioned it before. It's irritating that effectively, like, applying for a job and getting feedback is like a 2-month, like, buffer. Sometimes you'll get a reply really soon. Sometimes it takes maybe a week or two, and then after 2 weeks or 2 months, it's like they've forgotten about me. Almost all my resumes If I'm not hearing from them in 2 months, it's a no-go. And I say that because I get a lot of 7 weeks. I get a lot of that, where it's like, here's a resume from ages ago that's suddenly like, you know, not doing too fine. But it's still irritating me because I would love to just like, you know, step in front of someone and go, "Hi, I'm a willing candidate, ready to work. Hire me now, and just work tomorrow." That's it. No, I mean, that's fine, but I'm competing with a lot of people who just got laid off as well, so. And not just from one company, it's a lot of companies, so it's terrible. It's a rough industry. I remember seeing Andy Thipps, his team got laid off. He was working on a studio under Facebook, and his team got laid off, and he's just like, yeah, like, it's been a bit rough. But to that I go, hey, you know, keep up the good spirits, always hone your skills in places, and whenever anyone says AI skills, you know, whatever. I have good... Here's an article I thought was interesting. This was on Hacker News titled, ATMs didn't kill bank teller jobs, but the iPhone did. And the analogy they're going for is that, you know, everyone keeps talking about how AI is going to replace jobs and all that stuff. But back in the day, when, you know, we used to have lots and lots and lots of bank tellers, manual people doing stuff, and they still exist, because you never know when you're going to need, like, one person there. But you used to require them to withdraw money. And they didn't really, you know, as the article says, it wasn't really, like, too... How would I put it? The number of tellers per branch fell by more than a third between 1988 and 2004, but the number of urban bank branches rose by more than 40%. So it did make... How would I put it? Like, what they did is that while individual branches shrunk because they didn't need as many people per branch, the businesses still hired a lot of people and expanded horizontally, and they made more and more branches to cover more distances. Wouldn't it be better if you didn't have to drive as far to get to an ATM or any of that stuff? And you still need people on the premise to operate an ATM and all that stuff, so there's still that. But then, obviously, when the article says the iPhone did, it's like, well, at some point, I don't need to go anywhere. I can do my business transactions online. I don't need to go into a bank to do anything, which means the entire idea of a physical presence is now a bit moot. And that's where the article is coming from, is that just because we are replacing things or something seems a little irrelevant doesn't necessarily mean that people will be replaced hard and won't be working at a company anymore. There's also an interesting reply where someone says someone has been thinking about ideas for things to vibe code, and he came up with a vending machine. So if you had a vending machine and you wanted to automate the whole, like, everything around the vending machine, most of it doesn't actually need LLM agents at all. You could operate the whole thing with reliable telemetry and a database and an automated inventory. You might be able to use an LLM to chat to someone on the phone to refill and service the machines, but you could probably just have someone regularly service the machine, like just come by every day, have a look, see what it needs. Like, that's what I mean. It's like, you need a human to do something there. You might as well have the human do the judgment as well while you're at it. You also don't need, you know, you can't have AI replace the technicians or the vending machines themselves, but it replaces the manager. It allows, like, effectively, the manager is the person who is deciding things and making, how would I put it, solving the managerial problems. Of course, obviously, that's with the name, but, like, what is there to manage with a vending machine? Once you start to algorithmically maximize the vending machine, you're not replacing the engineering of the vending machine. You're not replacing the engineering of the vending machine, but you're replacing the whole, like, why do I have a vending machine here? And, you know, again, that's still, like, you know, we're assuming that I can talk. an LLM. We're assuming that that actually does solve the problem, of course. But the point is that we're asking something that has a lot of text and predicts what text looks good next to other text. We are predicting that, you know, it comes up with something that is, you know, beneficial to the managerial side of the company, but it doesn't actually, like, you know, if the vending machine breaks in some way, well, we can't replace that. We can't replace that with a machine right now. We can't use a machine to fix the machine in that capacity. So, every company that keeps talking about, oh, you know, replacing people with LLMs or that kind of stuff, or anytime you see certain big tech fan company announce a big layoff of employees, and maybe not them, but I saw articles mention, oh, that wasn't actually that bad. But I saw articles mention, it's like, oh, because they're replacing their staff with AI. It's like, no, they're replacing their staff with offshore employees, most likely. They also, this company in particular has a hiring freeze, so they're not replacing them today. They are replacing them in the next, well, whenever they make their money back. And obviously as well, yeah, it is still bad, yeah. And never mind, the company is, like, obviously if they're not hiring anyone at all, not only did you have 10% of people leave now, but you obviously had all the people quitting just casually over the time, or going on leave, which is obviously, like, sometimes you hire a contractor to fill in the contract, you know, the time that they're on a long service leave. You're not replacing them. You've obviously, like, in terms of a role, but clearly you need the manpower to back up, so... But they're not even doing that. So, what are they doing? Well, I have no insights. I will say that, so... this company will, hopefully flourish if they figure it out. And they realize, my core feeling is every big tech company needs to remember that humans do indeed buy their products. That humans use the products, that humans need to benefit from the products, and you can't have your AI circle jerk, to have a lack of a better word. It's like, you obviously can't have a whole system... AIs don't buy things. They're obviously driven by a human underneath, and there's obviously a human demand. And eventually, and to be fair as well, like, if we abstract that a little bit, like, replace always, in every conversation, replace AI with algorithm. We have been using algorithms and computers for decades. We have so many examples of what do we use an algorithm for. And one of the obvious examples I think people should mention is stock trading. All the biggest stock traders use algorithms to figure out, is the stock going up, is the stock going down? They might look at other things like news reports and run sentiment analysis on the news reports. They might look at trends, which AI certainly, you know, machine learned stuff will help at figuring that out. They're very good at taking inputs and figuring out an equation that can compute outputs maybe a bit more accurately, maybe. Glorified gambling. I won't say it's glorified gambling as, like, purely a game of chance, because that gambling legitimately needs to have no, like, you know, hard, like, I mean, you could influence it a little bit, but you know what I mean, where it's like, you're still running a very solid chance, whereas stock markets can have a solution, but obviously the solution with a stock is someone out there loses money because they sold something. Well, maybe someone loses money if we consider the amount of money in the system to be finite, which generally there should be, but obviously with the stocks, whenever you see tweets that goes, $2 trillion was just added onto the stock exchange, or $2 trillion was just subtracted from the stock exchange, it's like this money doesn't exist. It's all speculative. But at some point, eventually when someone... Well, actually, you can't sell out. That's the problem, is that to sell out, someone buys in. So effectively, there's a lot of fake money that exists in the space. And it theoretically is going up in value over time. So in theory, as long as you hold stocks, you will generally make more money. Obviously, holding stocks on things that actually collapse is not good. But it's like, yeah, like, you could hold stocks in many companies and just imagine, you know, as long as those companies exist, if they're big companies, if they were Google, if they were Nvidia, if you had Nvidia stock from ages ago, Good on you. You guessed right on that one. Gosh, 50 minutes, really, to get through all this. The battles just keep getting longer because there's more Pokemon there. And I would like to kind of see the end, but it's also like, it's taking its sweet time. So we'll stop for the moment. What do I do if I say no to Abra? What's really weird as well is that you get the option at the beginning to say, like, I want to start a new challenge. And it does start you at, you know, stage number 1. There are 100 battles. We did 70. And I think they do end at around level 60. So, I mean, they're getting to that point where it's like, okay, they're starting to surpass even my levels. But, I don't know. I feel like my team is, you know, done pretty okay. But I'd still say only okay, because I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's a very dull stream if I'm not having, like, a solid crack at, you know, at the game itself. But legit, we've only got 6 trainers to go in the actual game itself. Do I have money? I should have checked. These guys give money, so I actually need to make sure I'm spending my money. Oh, no, they don't. Okay. Obviously, if you need money, I think the best thing is just to fight, like, the trainers in Pirate City as well. But, yeah, I don't know. Circular logic, just like me, mentioning every AI topic. It's always like that. But I thought it was interesting just to, like, have another hard example of an article and stuff like that, where... because obviously you're a big... No, Max Verstappen's just... number 3. Who's 33 in Formula 1? I don't think anyone is. If it's 1933 or is it 2033? What do you know that I don't? So, I had this other one as well while we're on the topic of AI. I had this other one where John Carmack tweeted about AI. He said, I know there's some overlap between open source and anti-AI activists, but I have a hard time reconciling it. My million-plus open source LOC were always intended as a gift to the world. Yes, I would make arguments about how it would strengthen our communities and the GPL would prevent outright exploitation by our competitors, but those were not ally fears to my partners to allow me to make the gift. AI training on the code magnifies the value of the gift. I'm enthusiastic about it. Some people do look at open source as a tool for social change, career advancement, or reputation building, but those are all downstream of the gift. And he's generally a bit right about this, I think, where if you do give, you know, you put your code online, you are, you know, I don't necessarily think that, you know, you should expect, he is a master with it, yeah, exactly. But I don't think it's, like, without expectation that someone is going to use your code. And unfortunately, businesses will use your code. I wish I had a closer place I saved. I guess all the way back downstairs. It's kind of the closest one. There's no save just here. We're going to take a crack at this. We'll see what happens. Remember, I still got to fight another trainer. I do wonder, I think there's no way to actually catch these Pokemon other than attempting this again and again. And while it doesn't get any harder, it's like, yeah, but like, I might as well do it now to catch a Pokemon. And obviously, if I catch the Pokemon and beat the trainer, I don't have to worry about catching the Pokemon again. But I have to beat the trainer in order to commit my caught Pokemon. So as long as I'm making one Pokemon's worth of progress, I guess that's okay. But it is going to get kind of iffy, and obviously, fighting trainers, it's going to give me experience, I guess, but... Anyways, we fought this person already, but we have to Jomus, but we got to do it again. But it shouldn't be as bad, because I've gotten a few levels under my belt, so... But no, I think John's generally right. I think, usually, and I don't think it's an anti-AI argument, I think it's just an anti-corpo argument, because most of the big AIs are driven by big corporations or things like that. Yeah, the Exploud is a new one, so hopefully we can whoop him. Yeah, kind of annoyingly, I don't think your Pokemon heal between these fights, and so because I'm below level, and also because I kind of don't want to spam revives while I can't beat this. Like, what do you do? What is your play, I guess? Shadow Ball is gonna be mean. Never a big fan of it. Oh, why is it that everyone has Shadow Ball in this game? I think that's my problem, is I didn't, like, stop and look at, like, moves. Ah, see, yeah, it's like, yeah, I gotta spam a revive on Espeon to bring Espeon back into this whole process. That's not too bad, and obviously I got Entei kind of high level right now, so maybe it's not the worst, but it's like, ugh. I think I had this thought last week as well, where it's like, yeah, it's because no one has, like, a type weakness. You can't go into anything with a proper strat, and then also on top of that, without, like, I feel like double battles are harsher, just because it's harder to set up a sweeper. It's harder to set up, like, a real, like, solid strat and have, like, oh, this is the one Pokemon I'm going out against this guy. It's like, oh, I gotta think of 2 things all the time. But that's me complaining about a Pokemon game being harder than I anticipated. Does this just, like, highlight that I'm bad at Pokemon? Is this the trend? And it's like, oh no, I'm just really bad at it. The worst part is that, like, I feel like I had a solid run playing Pokemon Blue, like, ages ago, a decade ago and a bit. But it's like, I'm sitting there going, why is Porygon 2 so bulky? That's not fun. Yeah, why does everyone have a move like that as well? Just to catch me out there. I know Porygon 2 has, like, fairly solid stats. But it's still just like, ugh. They keep spamming Tri-Attack. I remember, for reference as well, as a kid, I got up to this point, and I was like, that was it. I knew I had to grind. And I don't want to have, like, I really don't like the idea of having grind-only streams. I've done it before. It's always a bit of a doozy to watch. I've always got topics and things like that, but it's like, yeah, I want to, like, show me beating things. And, it just feels like a bit of a bummer if it's like, yeah, I'm at this point, and I'm still at this point because I need my Pokemon to just level up, and it's never happening. I know this guy's only got 3 Pokemon, but again, it's like, yeah, like, everyone's got a mean move. Maybe it's my fault. I should have been switching out because he's got Zangoose using double kick, and I really should have known that. But it's like, I don't know. It's on me, so. So let me see what else I've got. Everyone remembers Jeff Kaplan. Everyone remembers Jeff Kaplan. This is a story segue. It's not really a segue, it's just me jumping to this. Jeff Kaplan, Jeff Overwatch, as people would refer to him. I think he was the creative director as his official role. And obviously creative director is a pretty big and prestigious term. The name is Jeff. No, he's the guy who, like, spearheaded Overwatch and formerly Project Titan at Blizzard. It's the first Overwatch. So, and he came out in an interview. He's got a new game that he's releasing around now, and I haven't seen too much about it, so I think give it a check, I guess. Delan. But he's speaking in this interview, and there's a couple of there's 2 points I want to mention. There's this interview that he's doing, and then he's doing, I assume, a live stream of his game, and he's talking about a lot of things generally about the industry and also maybe his time at Blizzard. And in this interview, he basically spoke about how a financial guy. So yeah, finally we can catch Absol. A financial guy at Blizzard basically said that Overwatch needed to earn so much money every year. So in this year, and then this year, and then this year, and so on. And if you don't, then people on the team are going to get fired. And it'll be on you. And he basically said that, like, as a really call. And he was like, yeah, that was, like, part of the reason why he quit Blizzard was that kind of stuff. Now, when people talk about toxic cultures, usually they talk about, like, I got physically abused, or people said mean things about me. And I do agree, that's bad, but there are toxic cultures where you have this kind of stuff. You have, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't situations. And I know there's going to be a lot of places out there that always have these kinds of, you know, scenarios. I get that. I landed 2 thunders, so I'm happy about this one. Some solid thunders all of a sudden. What happened? Yeah, the problem with landing thunder all the time is obviously because your team doesn't heal. Not really getting too much progress unless you manually heal between the fight. And you know what's the worst part as well? Wow, that was a tremendous Shadow Rush. You know what's the worst part as well? In regular Pokemon, you know what happens between the Elite Four fights? You spam all your items and you save between the fights. I wish I could do that. I get if you want me to, like, have to do all these fights in a row, but it's like, yeah, it's the fact that you can't even stop and heal. It really adds to the challenge. Now, yeah, these first 4 guys only have 3 Pokemon, I get it, but still, it's like, it adds up. Yeah, it's really brutal. It's really brutal. Rest assured, by the way, I'm not going to end, like, the game on a, well, it's too hard. It's like, you know, if we need to do grind streams, we'll do grind streams, whatever. I will have done permanent progress. The goal is to make progress. And to maybe, I don't know, maybe I use a couple of revives if I really need to. Because obviously, if you catch a Pokemon, then you don't have to, you know, you don't have to be copying Shadow Rush all the time. I don't have anything, really. So, I'll just throw Pokeballs and hope for the best. But yeah, so Jeff Kaplan mentioning this is a very, hopefully an eye-opening moment for people in the industry, but this does happen quite a bunch. I think the bigger the company, the more brutal and cold this kind of stuff is. I'm glad that that was fairly easy, actually. Absol's got a somewhat high catch rate, right? 30. Wow. Okay, that was a bit of a lucky go. So that's okay. Let's see what else have we got for the next few Pokemons that I go catch. They are nowhere near as bad, except for one. There is one that is worse, and we'll mention that. It is Activision Blizzard. I mean, yeah, when people in the replies are like, Bobby Kotick went to the island, and I'm like, it's a bit of a non sequitur because Bobby Kotick is not the guy telling him this, and obviously, well, not obviously, but like, I think as well, it might not have even been his directive. The financial guy might just be making a financial guy decision somewhere. And he might not have spoken to the chief financial guy. This might have just been a downstream decision. As a team lead, as a director, I feel like he probably does have close communication, but big companies are massive. You'd actually be very surprised at how, like, aggressive. I don't have... Ooh, snap, actually, as well. I don't have a... You know, I need to get Meganium out of this one, I'll tell you that. What would be a good move? I guess I don't know. But we'll get Meganium out there because you know where this is going. Oh, man. Listen, I won't say he was, and I won't say he wasn't. Like, you know, I don't know the guy, I guess. But certainly, like, as, you know, I'll say, as someone who works at a big tech company, it's like, this kind of stuff happens because people cannot see beyond... The average person, including CFOs and all this stuff, can't see beyond 2 layers of the company. So, like, you as a chief financial officer have your financial officers underneath you, and then you probably have team leads, and that's it. That's all you see. You really will never have a conversation with anyone underneath you in the company. And obviously, as well, they branch in various ways. So someone who do I use a? Here's the thing: if I knock him out, you know, I'm gonna see the Houndoom later anyway, so. It's not the end of the world if I do knock him out with a Surf, but I hope he won't die. Hopefully it's spread out damage, and Houndoom is bulky. If I do knock him out, it's like, oh, okay. Well, it's not like a, oh, you know, he just didn't communicate, but it's like he doesn't, you know, he doesn't have to think beyond his beyond his lair, basically. Like, there is no communication beyond that. Like, every big companies have to work on these abstractions, and they have to keep forgetting that people are indeed real people under the hood. Metcargo would be great to have a water type attack hit him, but... Oh, free dog. Alright, let's see, what do I pull off? Pokeball always makes sense, but then it's like, well, what do I use for, like, my other move? Because I can't use Surf, that's my problem. So I guess I'm kind of stuck using Aurora Beam even though it's only half damage. Oh well. Now Jeff also said other things as well. He specifically talked about how people... I'm not too sure if actually this was recent or whether someone was just bringing it up because Jeff's in the news recently, but he brought up how people on the internet who judge a game after watching a 2-minute video on it should just shut up. And I think part of the context is maybe the general vibe around the internet. I don't think he's singling out High Guard, which for reference that trailer was 3 minutes, so it was a longer trailer. But I'm not too sure if he's singling that out, but I think certainly you could say we've seen this for a bit. I probably actually just use Bite and then use Suicune to do the catch. Commercials are supposed... Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't fully agree with his take in the sense that people should... Or I'd only say he's a little bit right. And the part that he's right about is that there are a lot of people who just do not know. Like, they actually do speak in falsehoods, and then they talk about that as if that's the real opinion of the game. This is not exclusively people who haven't played the game, because you might still be right, even if you haven't played the game. And you also might still be wrong if you have played the game. I think certainly people who have played the game are going to, like, they're going to have a bias. Obviously, because if you play the game and somewhat regularly, then obviously you like the game to some capacity, or you find something that you find interesting enough that you want to keep going through the game. Or you're a game reviewer and you just hate your industry, man. Like, I don't know. But obviously it's like, well, you work at Video Gamer and you're not even a real person. But, like, certainly everyone has a bias. Everyone has, like, a stance they want to go down. And to some degree, naturally on social media, you are going to get the worst kind of opinion, which is the anti-corporate opinion. As in, sorry, how would I put it? The competitor opinion. As in, people don't like a game, or they don't like something because they actually really want to boost something else. I don't think that's really that fair of a thing to, like, exist. Rip Entei. I'm hoping we're almost there. People didn't play High Guard. Yeah, they just didn't play High Guard enough, but High Guard, and here's the thing, any free-to-play game is a tricky one because it naturally will get people who, or like, it's the barrier of entry is actually kind of low, so, oh, this is going to complicate him. Oh, that's not too bad. But the barrier of entry is low. It's like, oh, I don't have to, like, buy anything, and you do need to have a TPM module on your computer, but we'll get into that in a moment. But you don't... Yeah, it's not too much a barrier of entry, whereas a game that is $80 US, 120 Australian dollars, has lots of DLC content under the hood. You'd be surprised how few people actually critique DLC content because it is so expensive. Because you have to buy a game and then you have to buy the DLC on top of that, and most of the time as well, the DLC content comes out so much later that people don't talk about the game anymore. Oh, is he gonna use... I used it because it would be okay on Metcargo. And it is, but... Do I just throw myself at this, like, again? For reference and try to get that fourth Pokemon out? Yeah, that's what I mean with the flamethrower. It's like, oh. Okay, well, I can't do anything other than throw Pokeballs, but come on, man. He's got to be caught soon, right? Hopefully. Oh, I should have revived. I should have revived someone in the back. Yeah, I should have revived. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, people on the internet First of all, everyone's got an opinion. So I don't think it's fair. Yeah, it's not fair at all to tell anyone to be like, oh, shut up, if only... Yeah, oh, exactly. It's a double battle. Let me throw twice. This is how Colosseum should have been, the 1v1. There is a single battle mode in the options as well. Sorry, not in the options, but in the there's a random battle mode, and you can indeed do single battles if you wanted to. Is he gonna kill himself on this one? I'm gonna be a little sad if he does. Oh, he's close. He's close, but we might have this. And we won't have this if he uses Shadow Rush again, so, okay. Hopefully. But, yeah, pray. Let's pray. Praise in the chat. Ah, oh, come on. And he's using Shadow Rush again, so, here's a question. What happens if I get knocked out and he gets knocked out? Like, what happens to the tie scenario in... Well, I'm not restarting because I gotta do this fight again because I'm not gonna make it to the next ones, but I just wish I could have gotten him. I might be fired. Same. Gotta get that sweet experience and a little bit of money for when it halves all my money again. Now, if only there was a bank that you could put your money in. Your news, yeah. I was gonna say I got, yeah, I basically had that with the Jeff thing. Yeah, the only one I've really got is, my long story, Joys of Anti-AI. We got the long stories of, I got the date wrong, but Australia casually introduced, well, not introduced. We have this thing called the E-Safety Commission, and, this was in, I think the bill was passed sometime end of 2024, and then basically they were like, okay, we got a thing right now. Companies have like 10 months or a year or so. For reference, Tropius has a catch rate of like 200. It's kind of absurd. Is there any reason to be throwing Pokeballs, or should I just like go for blood? Go for blood! Oh, we're really bad recently. We are dreadful recently. So, yeah, so we gave all the tech companies... No, not all the tech companies. We gave 12 specific or 10 specific companies an ultimatum saying, hey, you have to introduce, like, age verification now. You're forced to do, like, real, proper age verification, whether it's based on IDs or whether you use photos or whatever. Wow, I'm all the way back here. Because I saved all the way back here. How curious. Do I take another crack at it? I'm going to throw myself at this again because I did indeed catch one. It's not fun for the friendship on the Pokemon. Actually, I don't think your friendship really goes down that far if you know, if your Pokemon gets knocked out once. And honestly, the amount of friendship you get from walking is actually quite high. But yeah, we should at least have Absol. We at least have one. Level 48 isn't even that bad. But we'll do a save, why not? But it's the fact that, like, you know, you're throwing all your balls at... You're throwing your balls at these Pokemon, and then it's like, no bueno. No bueno. That was a lot of money just kind of spent throwing at it. Because now you look at my money and it's even less. Or it's about the same because it kind of plateaued at a certain point. Although you could buy a handful more Pokeballs if you wanted to. Might as well do that. Why not? But yeah, so we had this where various tech companies had to implement this age verification. So specifically Google, specifically Facebook, all this stuff. And basically, if you were under 16 and you were on one of these banned social media websites, well, the company is going to get fined. Individuals, if you're circumventing this via using a VPN or lying about your ID, all that stuff, whatever. Water under the bridge. But if you're a company and you're letting this happen, how dare you? You know, like, something like that. So the fines are ridiculous. Well, the E-Safety Commission, sometime last weekend, while I was in Melbourne, I missed specifically when this happened, and I also missed the date, because I heard on Monday, and I thought that was like, oh, they gave him like 2 days to do this. No, they gave him 9 days. They've said this on any company, every single one, no names specifically, who, showcases, I'm going to use the word pornographic content. You're not allowed to say the word for advertisers, but it's like, if you've got any adult material, it's like, it's the same word. What's with the YouTube advertiser blocker? Oh, you're not allowed to mention it. But like, we're talking about law here. If your site has this kind of content in any way, we're going to punish you. I think it's like $50 million per offense. It's either 50 or it's 5, but it's still like an absurd amount of money because it has nothing to do with the scale of the company at all, or the number of users on it. It's like, nope, you're just doing this. And so obviously, you know, the hub of this kind of content, they said, hey, we're not going to serve Australia anymore. Various other sites that I know of are just like, yep, nope, it's too much. Like, if you're a massive tech company, you can afford to do this. If you're Discord, you're preempting that the government's going to do this. Discord is a weird one because, oh yeah, exactly. So many of these sites basically went, okay, we're going to geo-block Australia because we can't do this. Never mind that they gave a week to implement like a whole age verification system under the hood on so many sites that don't even have this kind of system. It's like you go onto the site, there is no account system, there's no nothing. You just like, oh, okay, I now suddenly have to have an account system that has an age verification system under the hood, which most companies are going to be like, you know, if you're a company that does age verification detection, oh, you're going to be rolling in the money. You know, how great is it for you? Because all these new businesses need to now do this all of a sudden. But if you wanted to do this in-house, it's a really expensive kind of venture. And so many companies have tried to avoid the obvious, hey, we don't want to use government IDs because they obviously will get leaked. Like, there's no way to get around this at all. Obviously as well, like if an auditor comes by, this is the other one as well, is that obviously if an audit comes by and you don't track any of the IDs, well, obviously, you know, like, oh, how do you know that someone hasn't uploaded something false? Well, you see, you have no examples. You get grilled by Australia. Discord has been trying to avoid this, and that's why they actually dropped Persona. Oh yeah, politicians, no, they don't. That's why they tried to drop, Discord dropped Persona, which they only use in the UK for reference, but they've been trying out various identity providers, and they, see, Zangoose is gonna kick my butt. Exploud is gonna use, like, Earthquake or something. Or he could just use Slash, which might deal a fair bit of damage still. Yeah, it's still a fair bit, but... There we go, at least we got one out of the way. Although Porygon Z is going to be kind of annoying anyways. Part of me wonders whether I should be coming out with Umbreon and Espeon on the first fight. But I don't have any fighting type attacks on any of my Pokemon, so... Xbox got Shadow Balls, but I've got no dice. I've got no dice against this startup with Espeon. Just come in with Entei, just sweep him, just try and use Fire Blast and hope for the best. Or Flamethrower. I should just be using Flamethrower. Single fire on Explode. But yeah, like, all of this age verification stuff, especially for Discord, it's like, what is happening here? Because it's hard to explain as well, because obviously many governments around the world are all leaning into this all at the same time. They're all utilizing the same, they're all thinking all at the same time, hi, we need to be age verifying our users because we want to stop, you know, bad things from happening. And to some extent, yes, like, Discord has problems with underage people getting into conversations with older age people. But also, I feel like, well, IRC does, and you know, XMPP, and any kind of chat service. You know, back when everyone was on forums for a bit, good old BB code, all that stuff, like, you know, the problems could still exist. It's like, I feel like the fundamental... Also, you can do it over the phone. You can do it over... And you can do it over Facebook! How many of these are happening over Facebook anyways? You know, every time we talk about like a mainstream website, it's like, yeah, Facebook, like they're all hotbeds somewhat. It just depends on what you're looking for and where you look for it. And obviously you can turn any subset of users on any website, really, unless the website is too small to really have the subset. But you can find virtually any subset on these very big and generalized websites, and then point to that and go, oh, this is the evil bad thing we want to stop. We want to stop that. We don't want that to happen. And so they go, oh, well, let's age verify everyone out of existence. And, you know, I guess, yeah, like, if it did work, yeah, it would stop people. But you know what, like, has happened is that 70% of people under the age of 16 in Australia still use social media, despite being banned from social media. See, if only I had Espeon's still up. I think I used Raikou as my example here, so switch to that. Oh, wrong person switching to Raikou. I don't need Actually, to some extent, I don't really think I've got a great option for either of these. Secret Pouch in these one. Why not? So obviously that's the case. Anyways, with the commission coming out flat out and just going, hey, all the adult websites gotta implement all the age verification stuff. Do you know what this does to, I guess, the industry in general? And obviously they are targeting sites with this kind of content, but dangerously, this can include sites that could have the content. So I know they didn't say 4chan, but 4chan could have the content. It's so annoying that everyone has Earthquake in this game. Like every single Pokemon. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's an image, or sometimes text if you're really gutsy. Also, Sharpedo wasn't there last time, was it? So I'm getting caught out by these like new Pokemon that they're having to bring out. Ah, what a bummer. I'm avoiding the secret power on Sharpedo because the physical attack is gonna... I'm gonna get rough skinned to death. At least I have that, so... We might have a better shot of getting 3 and 4. The 5th one is gonna be an absolute struggle, but at least I might, like, have a crack at it. Oh, we got the paralysis off a secret power? Ah, if only that worked. If only that worked. So, like, what counts as this kind of content? Well, it's very nebulous, and also, it's so... How do I put it? It's so disturbingly broad that, like, what could this apply to, I guess? Maybe I need to read the specific wording, but the fact that no sites were singled out, no kinds of content were specifically singled out, makes it seem like this was a very, very... Well, maybe I'm just generalizing off articles, but makes it seem like this was a very knee-jerk reaction to something. I'm not too sure what exactly in Australia, but this hurts all the small businesses, because you cannot, and not to say, oh, the adult industry doesn't need protection. I'm like, you know, whatever, the adult industry is the adult industry, but tomorrow this is going to happen to sites with violent content, and virtually any place where you can share videos is going to have violent content in some capacity, because someone is going to share a thing that is indeed violent. And obviously if it's age-gated, you know, like, I guess maybe not on Neopets, we'll say that, but like, but it's also, like, it's extremely anti-competitive, because you're effectively saying you need to implement millions of dollars worth of infrastructure in order to pull off the age verification stuff, which, by the way, doesn't even work. We have not had a reliable way of doing it, and all the ones that say, oh, we're estimating the age. You know what's terrifying to me? The fact that, like, okay, if I upload my ID or something to any of these sites, you know, someone could steal my identity. They could see the numbers on my driver's license and go, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, you know, you know, someone could forge my identity out of that one. But, like, oh my gosh, there's a shadow Pokemon. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I think I used Torkoal and I just sort of... I could maybe use a Thunder and see what happens. I'm gonna keep it all, well, same as before. I'm gonna switch to Suicune on this one. But, like, you know, okay, like, my identity is something that could easily be forged. So, okay, so these sites go, well, we're trying to make people feel safer, so instead we're not going to use your identity, we're going to use all these metrics and stuff that we can use to estimate your age. And to me, I go, well, that's terrifying, because ideally, it's perfect. And ideally, it substitutes my identity with something that can still identify me. You're effectively trying to discern who I am by boiling down every decision that I make and every data point that I could make. So in Discord's case, it's based on the dialogue, based on things, you know, tone of voice, certain things you say, which means we have to scrape every single piece of information to train some AI models. Oh boy. Which, for reference, by the way, Discord does all the time. They've been doing it for a couple of years. Everyone should be quite aware that Discord does indeed do that. And if you're not comfortable with, like, don't say anything secret on Discord. Obviously, like, you know, like, you can say stuff to people, but just assume that any site with a DM system, if it's not, like, full-on end-to-end encrypted, which Discord flat out doesn't. There was one service, I forgot which one it was, but they announced that they were removing end-to-end encryption. I thought that was a bit of a curious one. But, like, yeah, like, don't say anything too secret on these sites. I think there's a massive privacy breach should any of these websites, you know, expose these details on people, but again, I'm at this iffy scenario where it's like I need to just keep throwing stuff at Houndoom and hopefully he catches, but man, he's just kind of chilling there. But yeah, on the flip side, it's like, yeah, like, you know, like, we're doing this massively inefficient system, which, for reference as well, I got one which was like every question you ask ChatGPT uses about the same amount of energy as like 8 seconds of microwave time. That's if it's a good quality model, and obviously the hardware will get better. They're not deploying new hardware really that often, so I mean we're stuck with NVIDIA Blackwell until what's the next one? Not Grace, but that was the previous one. What's the next one that they're coming out with for data centers and not for I've forgotten, but they're gonna come out with another one and it'll be like, yeah, okay, here's another one, I guess. But like, we'll switch. By the way, we'll use Entei to throw the ball, and we'll use a gust on Suicune to sort of even it out because a surf is. No, a surf is gonna axe off Houndoom. That's the problem. There's no point, like, getting past the stage if I don't catch Houndoom, really. Unless I get very lucky afterwards. But man, this Houndoom is not having fun with me. But like, yeah, this whole system is like, this doesn't quench my privacy concerns. Because obviously this violates my concerns of using these sites. The easy answer is, well, just don't use the site. Which I get, but like, we can't do this forever. And obviously as well, you get the kind of captive market. People on Discord are not very easily gonna leave Discord because the workflow works well, and also they're on so many servers. Some of their friends use Discord, you know what I mean? So, and also when people say moving to TeamSpeak, as much as TeamSpeak is a much better model, it is still a little bit like putting your faith in the hands of someone who, yeah, exactly. I don't want to lose my friend. Yeah. So what happens? People stick with Discord, annoyingly. What people did do is that they removed their subscriptions, because Discord doesn't really easily run ads. They kind of can. They do a little bit, but they can't really easily slot in a lot of ads. It's not that fun to put ads on Discord. You know it's going to be like so over once they're throwing like pop-up ads all over the place. Sidebar ads. Yeah, if you never paid it, good on you. If you put in a credit card for a free trial and then removed it, fairly okay, but also just don't even go there. The features are not worth it. Subscribing to Discord, if you pay them money on a regular basis just to click a button that makes the banner purple and lets you upload larger files, except you could use the various tools to split files into multiple little files, or you could use things like Catbox. I know Catbox probably won't be too happy with everyone being a Discord, like an ex-Discord person, like, oh, I can't upload to Discord anymore. This reminds me of the previous fight I was in. Oh, I did the call thing again. I really need to use Revive. I know some people who did, and I'm like, because you know you will show up in the metric of, wow, we have so many active customers. Which they do, by the way. Every time they're about to earnings call, they do that. It's the worst thing. I know it's not, you know, they're technically a private company, they're not public yet, so they don't, but like, it's like a, oh my goodness kind of moment. It's like so blatant that they're just swinging their metrics to look good. And every company does this, and I get it, but like, wow, investors, you're kind of silly for investing so much money into a chat program like this. But they don't have as much downtime as maybe they used to. They used to be very kind of obnoxious. Still kind of happens, but... But, yeah, so... but yeah, it hurts the little guys. The little guys are not going to be able to compete against these big companies, and then we're going to wonder in 3 years, it's not even going to be that long, we're going to wonder in 3 years why everyone suddenly now wants to get rid of this thing. Which I hate as well. I hate the casus belli. I hate like the motive why they've done it. It's because obviously people do indeed want to stop bad things happening you know, to victimize people. Certainly, like, you know, if we could stop I guess instances of abuse, and there is indeed online abuse, it'd be great. But at the cost of everyone's privacy, at the cost, like, and people go, oh, what's, you know, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, you know what I mean? But like, hi, yes, I fear my identity being used without my consent, which happens all, like, it's happened to me already. And it doesn't stop there. It obviously continues on into credit cards and other sorts of businesses. It's just like, we should abolish children. Kids are dumb, but they're not like, you know, I don't know. You gotta sandbox the kids in a way. I don't really feel like people should be engaging too much with, how would I put it? If people know they're around kids, I think that the topic shouldn't really be going anywhere, like, that deep or serious. I know talking about like politics and all that stuff is like, is that not deep? But you know what I mean, where it's like, there are some people who talk about risque things, and then obviously I think people should curate their communities in a very appropriate way. So if there are younger people in the crowd, either get them out or don't go that deep. If you talk about video games, hey, it's fine, you know? Like, just talk about video games, that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Oh my goodness, Houndoom, by the way. He's got a catch rate of 30, which is on the lower end. But it's not like... It's not impossibly zero, which is kind of annoying. Not impossibly zero. Just, I think I alluded to earlier, there's a Pokemon with a catch rate of 3 coming up as well, so... And you know it's going to be an absolute doozy, because it's like, oh, it's the only time I can catch him. Now. I think he actually might be the one... I do have a Master Ball. Am I allowed to catch him with the Master Ball for the Retro Treatment sake? I probably am. And you know what? That's probably the best use case for it. My problem is, you have to catch him in the Master Ball and then win. Remember, if you catch him and you don't win the fight, you lose the ball. You don't want to lose the ball. So obviously I'm not going to keep that up right now, but on the other hand, it's like, oh, why are they like this? Why are they like this? Why is Houndoom not getting caught? I know I can't do a status effect on him because I don't really have one, but still. I know I'm spamming all these revives. I want to get the next fight in as well. Seriously, like, this game does take its time because I'm sitting through animations, which go on for longer than regular, like, Pokemon games on the Game Boy. And then on top, I know I'm using a Pokeball. I know, I could be doing something better. He's gonna die on this one, isn't he? I'm trying, man. I'm really trying on this Houndoom. He's not been fun, this Houndoom. He's not been having a good time. I might get fired. I think she's saying that because she has a fire type team. So someone should then go, yeah, why aren't you using Ultra Balls? You know what? Maybe at this point I should. Maybe I should at this point. But it is still, it's harsh. That's kind of it. That's kind of it. That's about it. I think I had one on kernel anti-cheats, and basically someone said, or it's like, the article is called How Kernel Anti-Cheats Work, and someone said, they don't. I appreciate the author delving into this beyond the surface level analysis, but modern cheats use hypervisors or just compromise Hyper-V, and because Hyper-V protects itself, so it automatically protects your cheat. Another option that's becoming super popular is BIOS patching. Most motherboards will never support boot guard, and direct BIOS flashing will always be an option, since the chipset fuse only protects against flashing from the chipset. BIOS flashing as in you need to flash your BIOS in order to play a game. I know. DMA is probably the most popular by far with fuses, however the cost of good ones has been increasing due to Vanguard fighting the common methods, which is bleeding into other anti-cheats. But obviously the weakest link will always be exploited, and it doesn't matter how sophisticated your anti-cheat is. What does make cheat developers afraid is AI, particularly in Overwatch. And I love this example, where it's like, Overwatch, I know, right? It's like, well, I'm mentioning Overwatch, I'm mentioning a good thing about it. But like, Overwatch has a user mode anti-cheat, which is incredible. That, like, you know, we can provide effective anti-cheats in user mode. Also, Valve anti-cheat is also a user mode one as well. And the way it works is just, you detect spoofing, you analyze the gameplay, and you detect the cheaters themselves in the act. And then you clamp down on them by capturing as much information about their system as possible in user mode. And it's like, wow, my mind is blown that we can just... There's the bot, there he is. But it blows my mind that it's like, wow, we could just easily figure this out. We could just easily detect who is cheating through community reports and stuff. People declare who is the cheater right now. And I'm going to throw a Pokeball at Umbreon, why not? Sorry, not at Umbreon, at Tropius. I know he's on full health, but he has a catch rate of 200. So I have a decent chance of just getting him on the first go. It might not happen. Oh yeah, we get bots. I get a bot every stream. Only one. yeah, that's what I mean. Tropius is like weirdly way too easy. And then obviously 3 Pokemon, so I have a decent shot here. Although I did use that on Cradley, so... Cradley is bulky as. Kind of annoying. Giga Drain. I know, we still didn't get the other one, so... I'm gonna do another round on Mount Battle, I guess. We'll get some levels, because otherwise I'm just throwing myself at this fight with not really much success. But... thinking to myself, who would, like... Oh, I would like to get rid of Cradley, but then it's like, oh, but... Also, sorry, he's got 4 Pokemon. Sorry. It's a little bit stronger. Vileplume is weak to ice, but so is, It is Fet News time, we'll go for it, but, yeah. Oh, I want to have a good story with Overwatch in the news. And a bad story with Overwatch in the news, I guess, but... Yeah, Vileplume's gonna be a bulky boy. Maybe I do spam a revive for Hensei. Just to get through the fight, of course. Oh, it is so mean, but you're gonna get through all these without, you know, without a moment to heal. Delisting news. Open TTD. I'm spoiling your news story. Oh, that's ouch. That's ouch and iffies. Pinball FX3? Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting Pinball FX3 though. I'm gonna actually use this. I know I'm using Revise, but we can make some money and buy some Revise later. I haven't been using the Max Potions either. But I feel like if I can slam out Vile Plume. That wasn't really that much damage, was it? Needle Arm! But it is a bit of a shame, and obviously as well, it's all the licensing and stuff behind Pinball FX. Which is a big bummer. I don't like the idea of delisting games. It's like, come on, you made the game, it should exist, you know? It should be cool forever, but obviously can't forever. I'm gonna use Raikou to sort of like set up Espeon, because I know this Giga Drain is gonna be a bit mean. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, games should just be out forever, and I know it's like, well, it's obviously a thing with the licensing. You bought a license to sell the game for a certain amount of time, which, back in the day, you know, it lasted the whole console. I guess that's how that worked out, but like, nowadays, it's like, I appreciate discounts, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you know what, like, makes me feel ever so slightly better, although I know they will never do it, is, like, free. Just give it out for free, why not? You're not going to make any more money off of it. But no, it's a scarcity argument. You do this, the sales peak right at the end, and then you never change. And it's like, hey, is this a self-inflicted problem? The answer is yes. These companies negotiate the contracts, and they go, hey, that's that. Now, granted, obviously, Pinball FX has a lot of licensed materials, and there's bound to be a bunch of them where they never would have agreed had they not had a limited license. I get that sometimes might happen. But it's still like, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, because obviously these brands probably do want their, you know, they do want a pinball game. These guys are willing to make it. And then there's like, but no, we only want it for so long. It's like, bro, you made the game, it's gonna exist. People are gonna talk about its existence forever. Everyone talks about like Cool Spot and Yo Noid and Sneak King and Pepsi Man and I'm trying to think of other like fairly notorious licensed properties out there. M&M's Kart Racing. Like, there's bound to be so many examples of like licensed material, obviously, as well. It's like, you know, I'm going to talk about Guitar Hero, and, well, actually, we'll probably not talk about Guitar Hero, but it will exist. Well, at least we committed this fight, so I got 2 of them. So anyways, that's the Elite 4, I guess. It's kind of weird that you gotta fight like 4 random people as well. But here we are, the final boss. You know, maybe it's better to just like blitz through this fight and then just like come back later. Nah, after the Elite 4, you gotta fight the champion.
Bravo, well done. Why not become a Cypher show battle trainer? Would you even consider it? I'll vouch that you will become a top star in no time. I wouldn't have minded making that proposition, but I'm afraid I'm not that big-hearted. I will destroy you in battle right now. You will know the humiliation of total domination before this crowd.
He's got the camera red eye the whole time. So obviously as a final boss, he's got the most epic music, right? There is no music, by the way, in this fight. I just want to add. But yeah, no, like, his team are around level 55, and he's got no holds barred. So, like, I'm sitting here going, I'm going to get my butt absolutely annihilated. Like, absolutely annihilated. Although I might be able to take out this Blaziken. Oh, I used the wrong attack. No, I did. No, that's the right one. That's the right one. I keep forgetting Psychic Dark fighting combo. Psychic on fighting, it's good. It's fine. But yeah, he's got Blaziken, which is, as everyone knows, Blaziken is amazing unless he misses with Sky Uppercut. Also, come on, Attract, really? There's now Wordle variant where you guess a song purely based on that. Ooh, I should give that one a try. I do want to get rid of this Blaziken. I'm actually curious if I can actually blitz through this fight. Because obviously, if he sends out the... Oh, come on. Sky Uppercut's a mean one. Is it a recoil move? No, it's not. It's just strong. I mean, if he sends out his Shadow Pokemon right at the end, you know, maybe it's okay. Is this like every DLC chart as well? Come on, do the hit. Come on. Well, we're not going to get very far, but, so for reference, his Shadow Pokemon is a Metagross, and Metagross has a catch rate of 3. Beldum, much easier. Metagross, not fun to catch. Oh, at least he heals your team. At least he's got that. Let's not Raikou, because I might still get the attack in. But alas, Espeon, come on. I know you're 10 levels under, and also, as much as I like Espeon and Umbreon, they only get you so far, you know? Meganium is just like, it's really hard to send out. It's really hard to, like, use on anyone. Well, we could use Thunder on Walrein and hope that Surf does its wonders on Blaziken. Wow. Good old level in there. Obviously, I guess this fight is probably going to be great on the experience as well. Xatu is a curious one. I don't particularly find Xatu to be a amazingly strong Pokemon, but you know, it's not about the moves you have. Oh, sorry, it's not about the Pokemon necessarily. It's about the moves you got. But Blaziken and Walrein are especially mean. I will say that. Strumble.com. Gardevoir is everyone's favorite. Also, we have the double Psychic type. Everyone loves having 2 Psychic types. Which I have absolutely nothing that's super effective against, and so, I don't know, what's the best strat? I don't know, just spam a Surf and hope for the best. So there goes Xatu. We're doing okay, we got 3 down. The Hug Pokemon? Maybe. What gender is this Gardevoir? That glimpse on screen, I think it was male. Dusclops is often used in Elite Four. Also, isn't it curious? It's a other than Xatu, it's a 3rd gen team. Just thought that's kind of neat. Yeah, can't do anything with this, man. And then obviously, Rip, because Thunderbolt. Ugh. Well, we could keep Raikou chillin', while I guess get rid of that. I don't have a great, like, Meganium actually might be okay. Yeah, Meganium actually might be okay on this one. Using an X special attack. What? 2 items in 1 turn. Can't believe it. Yeah, I thought my Thunder would... You know, I don't mind using an X attack. It seems like it's a fairly, like, easy thing to at least, like, work around. I know I should use Rain Dance, I know. Give me a paralysis? Maybe? Yay! I'm happy days. Ah, unhappy days. Probably use this on Raikou. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Jeez. Ouch. Because that's my problem. I don't have anything that's particularly great against Psychic. Against Gardevoir. And, spam a synthesis and hope for the best. Oh my gosh, I've now got the unlucky end of the moves. The attract was getting me. Confusion's getting me. Meganium's gone. Oh, no, 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 no. Let's see, who else can we send out? Entei would be okay, because I can use Bite on Dusclops. And then of course he's higher level. Oh, that's still a ton of damage. Or I could use Bite on Dusclops, but Dusclops hasn't really been doing too much. So I don't know, maybe I should just commit to the Fire Blast on Gardevoir. Just get Gardevoir out of there, please. Oh, come on. That's 3 times in a row, and that's a 70% chance of hitting, so that's not, like... It's just not in my favor. Oh, come on. Come on. Kind of continuing. Peggy is changing its rules. I saw the one on the loot boxes. So loot boxes are now 16 plus on any Peggy rating. If you got loot boxes, you gotta be 16 plus. Which I think so for reference, I guess that is a Europe-wide rating. I don't really have a quick attack on Suicune, but you know what? That's fine by me. It really doesn't do that much. Except Germany, because Germany is, what do they use? I was going to say UKIP, not UKIP, that's a British party. USK, I knew it started with a U. It's on a lot of discs back in the day. Here we are, it's Metagross. Oh my goodness, a shadow Pokemon. This is a bit of a iffy spot because it's like if I could get rid of Metagross, I would, but knowing full well that like... I don't think I've got this. I need to buy a turn, so I need to get rid of Dusclops. And then I need to live in order to use a Master Ball. Because it's like, oh, he's the last Pokemon. He's right there. Please level up. Please save me. Oh, okay. You signed defense. Alright. Where is it gone? There we go. Master Ball. Listen, man. You gotta do it. There's no way I'm getting through this fight otherwise. In-app purchases, paid random items, play by appointment, and online community. Online community is a bit of a curious one. Oh, we gotta show the ball rumbling, just in case. Just in case you didn't know. And there we go! At least I got this guy. You know he's gonna have problems with me otherwise. So, I mean, I think it's fair to use the Master Ball on that one.
We shall battle! Enough! Don't embarrass yourself, Nascor! That's right. Sir, I beg your pardon.
What's going on? Nascor's apologizing. Isn't he supposed to be the boss? Take a shot if you saw this one coming.
My, that was certainly a battle worth seeing. I must be honest with you, I never imagined that you would get this far.
Ah, Mr. Mayor, why are you here?
Oh, dear me, do you fail to understand still? You're such a sweet
summer child. I'd put that one in.
At times I am the affable Mayor Fennec, and at others I am the secret boss of the criminal syndicate Cypher. I am Evis, and I shall rule the world.
And then he becomes evil.
How dare you meddle in our affairs so thoroughly? The Shadow Pokemon plan we can resurrect from the start, but you two, you will never be forgiven. I'll destroy you utterly, so you may never rise against me.
Secret final boss. And, again, one go. Although he does get final boss music, at least. But, yeah, one go. I think I do get a full heal, right? There's no way they want you to get through this without a heal, right? Yeah, okay. We'll take a crack if I beat this. Sweet, I guess. I gotta go back for one. Also, he still has a Shadow Pokemon. There are 6 Shadow Pokemon in the string of 6 trainers. It's such a slog. It's a real big slog to get through all 6 of these. You can repeat the Elite Four. I believe you can. So, I mean, we're not, like, screwed. And if I fail this, I mean, I'm repeating it anyways. But yeah, his team is, like, 61 is his highest. So Slowking's up there. Jeez, man. Like, what do we do here? What do we do against Salamence? Oh, actually, I know exactly what to do, but, we shall... Ooh. Yeah, okay, let's commit to it. Suicune will nail the Aurora Beam. I saw you now. Yes. Play by appointment's such a weird one to have like an age rating, but like, okay, sure. It is a multiplayer feature, I guess, so... This probably won't... I wish I had stronger dark attacks. Because it's like, wow, you know, Slowking is a bit of a bulky boy. And that Shadow Ball is going to ruin my day every time. Although Slowking is, he's a bulky boy, but he's not a strong attacker, right? I think that's the case. So, but hopefully Aurora Beam will beat X Attack. Oh, he's committing. When the game punishes you for not returning in time. Oh. I'm curious about, like, how some... Oh, snap. I know he used an item, so that's why he moved first. Hopefully I hit the next Aurora Beam on that one. But Salamence is probably the iffiest one out of his party there. Come on, bro! Come on! The game has any unrestricted communication without any moderation. That is brutal. That is kind of brutal. Rip Pokemon Diamond. Am I fine? Ah, come on. I kind of want to get through this fight, but I don't know. I also feel like, yeah, I might as well. Give it a crack. Jeez. Okay. So what do we rock afterwards? Because I don't have really anything at all. What is on his team that like would warrant me using Meganium? Nothing, I think. It's a Peggy 18. So is Slowking a physical or a special blocker? I'm looking this one up. He's a special blocker, so maybe I should actually use Umbreon's turn to... well, I say I should use Umbreon's turn, I'm not too sure. Hold on, I gotta do the math in my head. So Umbreon's gonna have Stab, but it's a 60 power move, so it kind of works out to be 90, so only a little bit more than Body Slam, which is an 80, 85, so it's really about the same. But then we're really relying on the attack difference, which I think with the double damage, because the thing, I still think Umbreon is going to deal more damage. And it's still physical anyway, so I don't have to worry about that, yeah. I'm doing the maths. No, you can continue. Keep going. This is why I bought all them revives, bro. I know he's setting up, but Dragon Dance is still attack and speed, yeah, so Aurora Beam would still be fine. Physic! Gosh, it's so iffy there. Dark Station Sensor has stated development on the Android. Is it because... tell me the reason, actually. Don't let me, suppose. Oh my goodness, with the full restores. I hope... That's his 4th item he's used. I haven't even gone past his first 2 Pokemon yet. Now I have. I like how he felt Salamence was more important than Slowking here. I have a reason in my head, but I don't know if that's the reason. Also, I like how Suicune had experience given back. Because technically Suicune was in the fight. So, Scizor, at the very least, I have a Fire-type Pokemon. I can rely on that. I don't know, man. Drop a Confuse Ray and hope for the best. Also drop a Sunny Day. Also hope for the best. Ouchies! By Mr. Sujanos. Stenzek was asked by Duck Station over... Android users told me they don't want updates. That might be a bit of a cynical answer, but I like, how would I put it? The Android crowd are very, very, very different. In fact, the mobile crowds in general, they're very different users to desktops. And I know that sounds like an obvious, but like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it really is like a bit of a doozy when like they demand stuff and they demand it in a certain way. And it is more time. It really does take more time to set up anything on Android. So it's just like, yeah, you know, if it just doesn't work out. I don't like the idea of threatening to pull the version. And I mean, is it open source or is it like, if it's closed source, I'm like, well, this is a problem that you're going to always run into with any open source project. Oh, sorry, with any closed source project, is like, when it stops, it stops. They're doing it for free. They're most likely not getting that much money. If you're getting the money, listen, man, I'll get around to it, I guess. I don't like the idea of closing it. I mean, if you're committed to open source, just commit to it. If someone's going to copy your stuff and do it better, power to you not having to worry about doing that. That's the joy of open source. Obviously, I guess it means maybe less money for you, but I love how I confused both of them and it didn't stop in the middle this turn. I know, again, the odds, not particularly high, but oh, that's a bit iffy. But at least I have 2 quad weaknesses I'm about to abuse on this one turn. Oh, I love confusion working. Oh, come on! Well, I guess eventually at some point they'd stop the, caring about the, Android version. Which is generally what I do with many of my, when in many of my tickets. I'm like, oh, it's on Android, I can't test that. I really want Suicune to have a stab at this, but it's like, oh, it's a doozy. But you have to do item spam. There's no way you can get around any of these fights without using items all the time. And the problem is you got to do 6 of them in a row. So what is that, 2 Pokemon down still? I've only done 2. And remember, I've only got the 1 Master Ball. I can't use it on all of them. The champ is so short. Why? This is iffy, but you know, I might as well just have a crack at it. But that's okay, because I can hopefully get rid of... Please hit yourself. What is the point of confusion if it doesn't do anything? Oh, because he's had... Okay, at least he's dead. But it's also... Ugh, that was the one I was going to sweep with the champ on that one. So who am I going to attack in the meantime here? Because I'm going to go for the spot next to him. Let's spam some revives. Let's get something out there. Slacking! Slacking is... He's a lazy boy, but... Oh boy. The White House now made a Wii Sports bowling... They did... I've not really been commenting too much on whatever the White House Twitter keeps posting, because the White House Twitter is posting a lot of stuff. And I feel like it's to convince the public that a war is a good thing. And whether you agree or not is up to you. But this is a very mean type combo I've got going on here. Ouch. Because now I've only got 1 guy, which means I'm mostly screwed. I have 1 guy left. How do you do fella? Well, I mean, they always do this. Like, it's totally bad. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Send him out. I wish I could send him out and then use his turn, but I know that's not how this works. Also, they both know Earthquake. You kidding me? Well, okay, I've been spamming Revives and we can't get past this because they both spam Earthquake. There is no time to stop and full restore anyone. So, alright, well, it's over. I tried, but, I mean, also, when you look at it, it's like the, you know, I got level 44 Pokemon, he's got 61. I'm really on the upper bound on that one. That's a bit ouch. Half your money, well, I don't have that much money. Unfortunately, a bunch of revives are gone, but it doesn't seem like I was really using them that much. I never used any full restores, so it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world there. The good news is, obviously, I caught 2 Pokemon, which is not Houndour. But I caught Tropius, I caught Metagross. If you wanted to use Metagross, it's also kind of annoying as well. Like, if you were playing this normally and you weren't dying, well, not normally, but you know what I mean, it's like, then you would have the opportunity, you wouldn't have an opportunity to use any of these Pokemon you're catching here. You just get, I don't know, it's so tough to set them up and use them, so. Anyways, at least I got 2 of them there. So, let's do a little bit of Mount Battle, let's get some levels. Yes, we can indeed hack the Xbox One. I'm not too sure what we can really pull off with it, but, I mean, we've sort of always had Xbox One, I'm so glad I spammed continue on that one. I don't lose the progress forever, by the way. I just gotta walk backwards. For reference as well, that guy's last Pokemon would have been Tyranitar. Only level 55 as well. Shadow Pokemon are never full level at this point now. It's very odd. But it is nice. It would be nice to reset the bootloader on the Xbox One, obviously. But it's like, yeah, but you could easily get into a developer mode on the Xbox One. You had to pay a license though. It's kind of annoying, but like that's why RetroArch's on the Xbox One. It's just like, oh, you know, you can install that. It's fine. Lady Carl. So, but yeah, no, Tyranitar would have been the last Pokemon. Tyranitar has a catch rate of 45, so it's easier than Houndour. Isn't that weird? Why is Metagross so hard and Houndour is, and Tyranitar is fine? I'll never know, but still, I had to commit to getting to the end of all of that, which, we're close, but I had to still catch a Pokemon at the end of the day. I think that would have been a tall order. You can see the levels really stacking against me now. We're up to 49 on Mount Battle as well. I'll still repeat, it's like, it's such a... I do need to catch 2, yeah. And also, it's good to know that they do give you a full heal after the 4th fight. Because I do feel like I used maybe 1 or 2 extra revives that I probably didn't need to. So it's good to know that at least they've got you there. But it is still like, oh, it's such a mean fight. Like, we got up to this place in stream 6, for reference. And then I got kind of filtered, I think I got filtered in stream 5. Like, at the end of stream 5, I got filtered by, like, the first, like, person I had to fight. So then I was like, okay, let's do Mount Battle. And then I got up to the end of the floor. And then last stream, we did the people above it, and then immediately getting filtered by the top people. And we're almost there, but it's the last guy. The last guy gets you there, so... Alas, we're gonna have to do one more stream, I guess. Because I'm not throwing myself at it constantly. There's a post-game, don't worry about it as well. But hilariously with the post-game, it's like, you're up against level 50 again. So, like, no one is quite as bad as that fight. They start getting... I think there's some people in a post-game that starts getting, like, I think 64, 60... What's the highest? 68 for the super boss at the end. So it does get there. I'm curious if I'll have the guts to show it, or whether I just kind of go, like, oh, whatever. But still, it's like, yeah, this game really kicks your butt. Because there's not many opportunities to heal. And again, every single Pokemon that you're up against is like... It's like you're up... Not saying you're up against a showdown team, but you are really up against, like, some rather off-kilter Pokemon, and you can't rely on types really a lot of the time. Double battles, you're always going to take damage from someone else, and they never have a consistent type lineup, and they always have weird, like, off-kilter moves all the time. So, anyways, that's my complaining about the game. QED, I suck at Pokémon Colosseum. But hey, like all RPGs, you make progress, you're getting experience, you're getting there in the end. I do need to look up moves though, I really do need something better for Umbreon, because it's always such a struggle. Every time I go, feint attack, and it's like, it's a 60 power move, it's not like absurdly strong. And don't imagine Wigglytuff to deal much damage, so that's why I'm leaving it there. Someone made a program that replicates Street Pass for Android. Okay. When you say replicate, I mean like kind of the same idea, right? And not like an actual emulation recreation in our nation. I'm curious how exactly it works. I hope it's not just like, we use GPS and we detect that people are near each other. I'm like, ooh, I don't really want my GPS constantly going to a certain place. RA support. I'm curious what that entails, but I guess he'll explain that to me. Yeah, no, he doesn't learn... Yeah, Umbreon doesn't learn anything beyond... He learns Screech on the next level, which is not worth it at all. Not at this point. It's just... The accuracy is a killer for Screech, that's the problem. But yeah, it's like I look at his TMs and it's like, well, he only learns 3 dark attacks. One is Taunt, one is Snatch, and the other is Torment. It's like none of them are damage dealing. I can't leverage his dark type, which is a bit of a shame. He can learn Iron Tail, but Iron Tail's a bit gutsy. He can learn Psychic. Might be an interesting one to throw on him. He also can learn Shadow Ball, which I actually think is probably the best attack. But I'm curious about which ones are available in this game and which ones are just me looking up stuff. See ya, Blub. Have a good one. It's not going to be longer than Doom. Although I do need to make my way to the final fight on this. And this is only the first one, so we're almost there. But not quite, so... You know, I'm just like visualizing what moves can I teach my Pokemon, because I really do need like proper moves out of them. These are all the level up moves, but they only get you so far, so... I do need to beat the... Well, I do need to do it. I'm not doing it this stream. But I do... That's the final boss. That is actually the absolute final boss. We'd hit credits if I managed to commit that one. I did read your comment, yes. Yeah. So I mean, good that it's Bluetooth, but also, do I trust that this is on my phone? Maybe. We'll see. So, and again, I still don't know what type my secret power is. Seviper! Everyone likes Seviper. Not as many people like Swalot. That's okay. The app is made... I don't think it's a problem that like apps get made with AI, other than when something goes wrong. I think people should point to the where is the QA, if it was there. Doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't there, but if it is, then yeah, where is it? But like, just because it uses AI doesn't necessarily, and this is my controversial take, just because it uses AI doesn't mean it's a, you know, more or less quality than you know, than an artisanal code would be. Because people can make mistakes, AI can make mistakes, AI can get it right, people can get it right. So on a logical fallacy level, I'd play with it. On average, yeah, I'd be a little skeptic, but you know, you're running software on your phone. You run that risk whether someone intentionally does that all the time. So you might as well, like, brave that, I guess. Or use graphene. It's on AI app. Oh, yeah. Oh, like, okay. Is that a quote from the guy? They asked him to, like, clarify. Oh, you use AI. Like, what are you using AI for? I'm like, can people lay off with, like, spamming people for using AI? Like, it can be useful when you get it to work out right. I do feel like generally it brings the floor of what people write. Okay, but still, it's like, I think it's good to at least declare that you did use it, but I'd be fine with just like a tick. Like, oh yeah, I used the AI. There you go, tick. I don't really need a big explanation about like how much you used it. But no, like it brings the floor up, but it doesn't necessarily mean that something is not, you know, of quality. Kadabra. I think that's a fair use case, but it just depends. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes AI is good at the designing, and then you do the code yourself, or you review the code yourself, or most likely you would review the code yourself. But, like, I don't want to punish this guy for doing this. I don't want to, you know... He's not a bad guy for using AI. I don't think it's, like... You know, I wouldn't classify it as a catch. I wouldn't say, oh, how dare he use this. It's like, it is what it is. My bigger problems with AI comes from the inefficiencies and the costs of using it, and generally the, like... Enterprise seems to be using it to replace engineers and basically spam out more code and less, you know, with fewer people. Like, that's why. Oh, the article titled it. Dang it, article. You sensationalist. Who wrote that article so I can name and shame them? Like, you know, only so much of a name and shame, but still, it's like, come on. Why do we gotta pick on this guy? You know, they wouldn't ever, like, single out, like, level 1 text, for example. Because, like, he's writing stuff with AI. It's like, you know... If that bothers you, I understand. Android devices. The catch should be that you have a device that's constantly trying to Bluetooth seek with people all the time on your phone. Like, that should be the catch. Which is fundamentally, like, a problem with, Androids. And running any app on Android, but especially one that is probably going to be doing this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, you should be a little cautious about that, but like, yeah, not the AI stuff. That's not the catch. And John article title, come on guys, why are they like this? I guess I know why they're like this, because they probably would love to see AI not take over the world so that their journalism jobs can still exist, which I kind of get. I get that, but, like, listen, if your articles are bad enough that an AI could, you know, a language model could definitely easily replace your writing, you got a problem there. Also, shouldn't this make your job easier? Actually, bonus points. There is no reason why an AI needs to expand your writing. Because if you're paid by the paragraph, then you're just sitting there, like, twiddling your thumbs, writing full sentences when people don't actually need the full sentences, because they're going to ask their own AIs to expand out and make it read like a newspaper. So just give me the dot points, bro. Make it easier on yourself. Let's get Gligar out of the way. We've got a bunch of poison types rocking up. I always keep using the wrong type on Sneasel, I don't know why. Also, I always keep thinking Gligar's poison type, but no, that's Glysaur, that's poison type. I'm actually curious which Pokemon we haven't seen. Probably a lot of first gens we haven't. Because, I mean, this came out around the same time as Fire Red and Leaf Green, and I think they knew that they didn't want to, like, absolutely trip up on third and first gens, so that's why there's a lot of second gens in this game. Any emulator into a Nintendo DS-style experience called EmuLink. It can show live game data on a second screen or floating over the game. Okay. I'm curious how that works under the hood, but okay. Reading game memory in real time and then still getting retro achievement support might be a bit of an moment. This is the revenge of the Hitmontop. I should have been... Oh, okay, we're good. I should have been using Hitmontop this entire time, but no. I'm too good for Hitmontop. I don't think this... No, this isn't gonna... I'm doing so little damage. You do be spinning. That was not the person I expected you to use Rapid Spin on, but sure. Please give me a hit so I can... Yeah, there you go. You can write back to memory and activate macros. Alright. Yeah. And in theory, I mean, I know we're talking about, like, anti-cheat and all this stuff. Retro Achievements does not really have any direct anti-cheat. In fact, it probably does the Overwatch strat, which is you rely on reports and other things like that. But in theory, it's like Forks specifically supporting Emulink. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you're using it for. I mean, I don't want to say, oh, you can't use that in an emulator because otherwise you'll break retro cheat. It's like people are gonna do whatever. People use save states and rewinds all the time. It's like whatever. Like, you know, retro achievements has its rules, and then people who write emulators can do whatever. That's fine. There are some games out there where I'm like, yeah, you like save states really save your time. It is cool, but I'm a bit of a purist, and I'm like, I like my games to be like, this is what I see. Well, not 4x3, this is 8x7, I think. Thanks, Pokémon Colosseum. Yeah, if anyone uses it on the Wii U, but even then, I mean, the gamepad games that worked well on the Wii U were ones that integrated with the game in some variety, and even if it was something kind of minor, like Zombie U, while it was a Wii U launch title and didn't get a PC and Xbox One port until much later, it did feel like it was mostly designed for whatever, and then they threw on a Wii U feature, which was to use the gamepad for your inventory. Every time you'd look at your inventory, you had to look down off your TV, and they advertised that gimmick. They were like, yeah, you know, this is real survival horror right here, and it turns out the game was fine. It's fine. There's nothing really too weird about it. But it is like, yeah, like, you know, clearly the game didn't have to be designed this way. It's like, oh, we need to go into the inventory, and then you spell out, oh, okay, and then we used, you know, the touchscreen to do it. We could have said the same thing about many DS games back in the day. Oh my gosh, the double Intimidate. Well, that's not going to affect, I'm going to switch out Umbreon because I don't want the Intimidate to really kick in like that. I'm going to use 2 specials. I'll switch to Raikou, why not? I know he's got the experience share, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, it depends just what happens out of it, I guess. Yeah. I don't have really... Do I have anything leaning over? I have one. I forgot to mention... Oh, you go for your last news. I forgot to mention as well. It's sort of a coda to the age verification stuff. Gosh, I hate Silverwind. Thunder. That was a rumor though, wasn't it? I saw the story, but I don't think they actually, like, announced anything beyond people just seeing that they're using a name. Project something. Project Eden? Is that what it's called? And, I saw one which said, they're going to use emulation, which means you could now run Xbox games natively on PC. I'm like, by definition, it's not native. Come on, Pirate Nation. It's actually announced at the keynote in GDC. Oh, so GDC did happen, so I'm getting GDC and GTC mixed up because they're actually right next to each other. That's why. That's why it's getting so confusing. I'm gonna set us weekend. I don't know, we'll just get some levels. I know Meganium's sort of chilling there going no man's land level. Xbox Vice President of Next Generation, Jason Ronald. Love the name. It's teased. Yeah, but like, what does this mean? There's a lot of ways you can interpret that. And also, knowing Microsoft, when they announce something, they don't deliver. And I know that's such like a critical thing, and I'll never get a job at Microsoft ever again. But like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, they've announced so many things, that don't happen. And I know canceling projects is industry common, but that's what I mean. But like, I think I've been burnt by Microsoft way too many times that I would even take a tease as like actually happening. Like, show it to me, give me a date, and then I'll be like excited. But until then, I'm like, I don't know, Microsoft, you're just sort of like wasting breath, wasting kilobytes. Oh, like, people liked it, that's fine. I'm sitting here going, Microsoft has let me down so many times in recent years. Whether it be around their gaming scene, whether it be around their Windows operating system, or whether it be around various other things like their Surface laptops and how they just don't make any good Surface laptops anymore. Yes, did you want to use Snapdragon? Sorry, we're only using Snapdragon now. ARM is the future, and then proceeds to ignore literally any processor at a competent power level. I don't know, I'm a bit salty about Microsoft. I'm sorry, Microsoft. But on the other hand, like, yeah, like, you gotta deliver something and stop throwing AI into stuff. Because now they're making issues with GitHub, and it's like, ugh, people made their backbone on GitHub, and now look where we are. Everything's breaking around it. Always host your own Foyeho or Gitty or something. The land of rumors. But yeah, I wanted to add like one comment, coda on the age gating thing, which was someone has released oh, Microsoft does not appear to have any plans to allow old Xbox classics to gather dust. Strong indications. This article is weasel loading again. That quote doesn't really add anything, it just kind of says he hinted. I'm like, yeah. Back this up by mentioning how in practice this is about backwards compatibility with PC. Reset error. My back compat team has wanted to bring... That still doesn't confirm. I'm gonna be a Debbie Downer skeptic on this one. And not to say Reset Error sometimes doesn't have leaks, but it generally is a bit here and there. So, but yeah, I was gonna say with the coda on the age restriction story, we have a new Linux distro called Ageless Linux, which explicitly calls out the fact that, like, how do we make an operating system? Because this is the thing, is that California, I believe, tried to pass a law, and maybe it did pass, actually. No idea how they're going to enforce this, which is like, age verification needs to be applied at the operating system level, because then we can expect everyone to, like, just ask the operating system, are you of legal age? And the obvious answer is, well, like, what stops me from running any software that just tells everyone else that I'm of legal age? Like, the whole point... The whole point of, like, how would I put it? Age verification absolutely needs to have someone's external service to be an external source of truth. Because we don't do this for HTTPS. It's like they think that, like, oh, you know, everything's encrypted now, everything's safe. It's like, we have certificate authorities. We have root name servers for DNS, and we have root certificate authorities that every computer ships with that hopefully, very hopefully, guarantees that, that they are indeed valid. Obviously, if one gets compromised, which could, you know, it could potentially happen. I think it did happen, actually. One DNS provider started, like, issuing certificates from the wrong place. And it's like, well, technically nothing bad happened in the sense that, like, no one's stuff was compromised, but it's bad in the sense that this shouldn't happen. But it's like, all of our computers rely on this centralized trust, and when that centralized trust breaks, obviously the secure mechanisms break down, because you have to then explicitly trust everyone. You have to declare that something is, you know, something you need to trust or something like that, and then you go, okay, I trust this guy, and so on. I think what's the classic? Any app on an Android or an iPhone actually constantly asking for permission. It's like, yeah, because, like, there is no centralized trust authority on this one. Whatever they're actually doing and whether they're able to pull off, it would be nice. It It would be nice, yeah. But on the other hand, it's like, again, can I buy one of these games and own it forever? Or am I still gonna be a bit out on this one? Xenia's getting there at the very least, but behind, yeah, in the sense of there are games that don't run at full speed. There are games with glaring issues that prevent it from working right. I guess that's that, but yeah, so Ageless Linux, it makes the explicit thing. We are definitely an operating system provider, and you become, effectively, it declares you as an individual as an operating system provider. The gimmick is that it tweaks your Linux ever so slightly to pretend that you are, well, not pretend, to basically declare that you indeed maintain your own version of Linux, which means you have verified every user's identity through the implicit means of you are the only user. Which I feel like, someone is going to say it's not in good spirit. It's more like 90% uncompatible. Oh, I don't know if it's 90%. 90% sounds kind of high. Luke's coming at you at Super Sonic XP. Man, it's been a while since that came out, isn't it? But yeah, like, effectively, the law says that, like, oh, big tech companies can comply, because obviously Apple, Google, and Microsoft make operating systems, and obviously they can easily add in things to ensure that all operating systems abide by the standard. Like, I get that. But obviously then it's like, yeah, anything led by volunteers or any of that stuff, you can't actually verify anyone. It doesn't work that way. So how is this law even going to work? I don't know. But they passed it. Various states in the US passed it, and districts, and it's like, how on earth is this going to happen? So, oh well. But yeah, good on people for making a bit of a meme out of it, and then also going, hi, this law is silly because XYZ. So, hopefully the world recovers from its silly surveillance trends of recent, and we can get back into what really matters, which is, will RAM ever go down in price? I'm not letting Screech. It's just not for me. Confuse Ray is arguably a much more, funny move, even if it is still, yeah, but that's like full compatibility. RPCS 3 is like, and also on top of that, the metrics are different for different emulators, so I won't necessarily say like full compatibility really lines up with another emulator's full compatibility, because there's like, say for example, Dolphin. Dolphin is not a very cycle-accurate emulator. It really will do things that are different, but the more and more things that, and not to say they're adding in hacks, because they try to not add in hacks, but the whole point is that it is going to do things, particularly around like I/O, for example, that is like, that's not how the original system works in any way, shape, or form. But they do it because it's like, well, the game looks and runs fine, and generally will run on phones and mobile systems, and I get that. But like, yeah, again, highest level of compatibility is not exactly cycle accuracy. And I know, like, cycle accuracy is such a high standard. I know, I get that. Visual accuracy might still have quirks here and there. So I'm not too sure if we can exactly categorize each one as being full compatible, and therefore the other one isn't full compatible, and therefore it's not there. I'm not denying that Xenia is behind. I agree with that stance, but I don't think it's woefully behind that you can't just, I think like more than half the time a game will indeed work on Xenia. Unless it's Project Gotham Racing 2. That's a bit of a struggle town. It's getting there. Slowly. But it's getting there. Usually the highest is either you can finish the game. Yeah, it depends. Obviously if it's a Gambit, it's actual, like, pixel perfect the entire time. I remember Gambit making a big deal about that one. And then every time someone would find a bootleg game or something, it's like, we used a weird, unique memory controller, so it just doesn't work the same. And it's like, oh, come on, guys. That's for the original, that's for the cartridge owner. It makes the emulator just more annoying to have to keep up. Reflect would be a somewhat curious move. I haven't really been using Quick Attack, but I wouldn't mind if I could get Thunderbolt, because Spark is not particularly, great, I guess. Do I use Reflect? I'm not too sure if I'd keep up Reflect. It's too much setup. I'm going to take that back. Difficult to check whether it... well, exactly. If they're complex, then, there's our problem. But, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you still can't do a pixel-perfect recreation of the output. Or at least somewhat pixel perfect, because when you're working with an analog display out, it's kind of a bit painful. There's still signal in there, somewhere in there. Obviously, as well, you can look at I'm pretty sure you can do some memory dumps and just like gauge that you're on the boat. Yeah, not impossible, but still, it's like. Oh, facade of that health. Ugh. Get our Rhydon. I don't think we've seen Rhydon, have we? No, we have, yeah. I keep mistaking it was him or Rhyhorn where I had the lightning rod moment. It makes sense that the compatibility tiers are based on being able to play the game. Well, certainly in-game and playable are two generally broad categories, where it's like in-game is obviously I want to get past menus and I want to get in-game. Makes sense. What counts as in-game? I'd say if it's running and you're able to at least exist in a game, because there's a lot of games where that was a struggle, or menus would be its own unique thing. And then obviously playable implies that you can start to finish at some point. Games to be completed in playable performance with no game breaking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I want to say Xenia probably has the exact same definition. But you were using the perfect standard. Because how many games are playable on Xenia? Also, what was the... Yeah, you said 70 to 73% is the highest level of compatibility. Playable is their highest level of compatibility, but Xenia's like 17% is like much higher. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe I'm going off the top of my head and I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. This isn't legs 11, it's legs 77. Is it real? No, no way. Hold on. I'm looking this up now. I'm looking this up. You got me Googling this now. Yeah, okay, first of all, I will say off the top of my head, I was thinking Zemu, first of all. So, I will step back a little bit, but also, they got a big compatibility page, and I think this repository is no longer maintained. Go here to the Xenia Canary. Alright, well, okay, I'm arguing past you now, because my brain was thinking about something else. So I will backpedal on that one, but I will still say, no, it's all good. That's a my bad. But the fact that like Xenia itself is no longer maintained, and so now we have this Canary project, which I don't know how well the Canary project is getting updated, but I don't imagine 360 is particularly well. I don't know, well in demand. Yeah, I don't think the GitHub is maintained as well. Oh my gosh, his face. Gramble, you okay there? I don't think he's okay. That boy ain't right. Oh, we got a posture check while I'm sitting down for too long. Oh. I'm standing up now, no one can tell I'm standing up. Back down. Oh. Because I still got like 4 fights inclusive to still go, so These fights go on, man, I tell ya. Is it even higher tier in Canary? I mean, it makes sense, and you told me it was like Canary's number was lower, so I'm like, Xenia Edge, like Microsoft Edge, or Aldi Edge, or Edge Networks, which is a real thing. Let's just hit jump off. I'm surprised Umbreon and Espeon are taking so long to get levels though, but I think it's because I've been using the experience share on everyone else, and the experience share gets the full experience passed to 1. So technically you're getting double the experience. Either way, there's probably way more than 1700 360 games. Yeah, I don't know, yeah. But again, like, it all comes to demand. It all comes to, like, how much do people want it? How much are people willing to put in the time to figure this out? Is the system itself complex? And to be fair, the PS3 is fairly complex, so I'm amazed that RPCS3 has come as long as it has. But on the flip side, I think there's way more PS3 games that we can all point to, and if you're going to pick one of the systems, we might as well pick that one. We might as well pick the one that sold more. Also, people have aggressively targeted it anyways. You know, back in the day when people installed Linux on it, and then I'm pretty sure governments and data centers started buying up PS3s like it was RAM these days. There's another Xatu. It's been a bit. But now we're up to 51. It's like, oh, it's taking its time getting through these battles. And yet the levels still aren't really coming in. '53. Blue Dragon. One day we'll get to replay some of these games again. That's the joy of playing through a catalog of games that we haven't played before. Is there's a lot of gems out there on systems that we probably we know, but it's like, oh. So hopefully I'll finish a handful of games and I'll chat about them. Grind Session was easy to chat about, so that's about it. It's like another game. Nothing doing. There we go. There's a somewhat pumped up physique. Again, I still love this volcano. Glasses Man? Ah yes, I love what type Glasses Man is. Oh, he's got the easy to catch Pokemon there. Yeah, that might be a little weird, but listen, out of thousands of games, I don't know, we probably expect it to happen with one of them. Let's do a swap out on this one. I feel like Umbreon and Espeon probably are gonna get a little walloped on this one. Let's get Entei out. I know Entei's high level, but Mercury, or Mercury Hoog. Yeah. I'm still upset about OpenTTD. I mentioned that one. I thought you were going to mention it when I said delisting, but Atari, I believe as the publishing arm that they are now, has now officially gotten OpenTT, or they've gotten Transport Tycoon Deluxe on both GOG and Steam, and they have said, that's kind of annoying. They've said that OpenTTD cannot also exist on the same storefront unless they bundle it or consider it a mod. And it's like, well, OpenTTD is not a mod, it's a recreation of the game in an open source format, and obviously they can't charge money because that's not, that's not bueno with the license. You used to require Transport Tycoon Deluxe for the graphics and sound, now you don't. So, oh boy, Tropius is going for it. He's going for it. He's going for it, but But yeah, so now they've come out. They've got this new version, which is not quite. It's not quite DOS. They do have an emulation engine that's handling it. So hopefully it's a little better than just running pure DOS. But on the other hand, it is the raw game. It's the raw dog right in there. And I think a lot of people will probably look at OpenTTD's, improved features, particularly with resolution and the scale of the game and all the mods and all that other stuff, as well as all the UI tweaks, like much better pathfinding and stuff for roads and things like that, and go, where is it? And why do I have to pay money for it all of a sudden? If you want to play Mercury, you got to play it on Xenia, at least today. Or you could fix it up in RPCS3's codebase. That's such a tongue teaser to get through. It's so tough. Because it is. Does it stand for anything? Does RPCS3 stand for anything? I don't know. Hey, my boy Exploud is back. Back from fight number 1, the Redux version. So, I don't hate the price on the OpenTTD. Oh, sorry, I keep saying OpenTTD. On the Transport Tycoon Deluxe release, it's 10 US, 14.50 Australian. It's like, it's kind of expected. But on the other hand, it's like, it's such a bummer that they can't just that for 5 years, OpenTTD was on Steam, and now it's like, now you can't add it to your library unless you own Transport Tycoon Deluxe, despite it not being a requirement at all. Now, they didn't do anything to the website, so, I mean, if you're on the website, it's fine. You can just download it there. If you're on a Steam Deck, most likely it's available in a flat pack version. I think that's been a thing for a while. So, I don't see any hard reason why it had to be on Steam, but it is a bummer. It's like, wow, like, come on, Atari. And remember as well, it's a different Atari to how it used to be. Although it is still the same Atari that is publishing the new Bubsy. So, just note that one. But it very much is like different people to the Atari of yore. And isn't every brand acquisition basically that? It's like, gone are the old days. Whoa. So what are we up to now? 78? 79? That was 78, yeah. This is really gonna, really gonna grill me at the end, isn't it? I know in theory someone's gonna go, oh, but like, you're using 3 legendaries on your team, so obviously you're gonna have slow levelers. I completely admit to that, but like, Halo 5 on PC when? No, that's Xbox One, it doesn't count. This is another fight where it's like, I would love to send Umbreon Espeon out more, but it's like, they're not doing damage. Entei's got a strong move. Suicune's got strong moves. It's like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, that's why you use the legendary dogs, I guess, because they are stronger, but it's like, yeah, I wish I had anything more than a regular psychic attack. They might offer Xbox One. They can make a port. I don't see any reason why Microsoft. Sorry, how would I put it? From a technical standpoint, everything that was on the Xbox One, and even in that weird interim when they didn't release full games, but they released like demo versions. So Forza Motorsport 6 and Halo 5 are the 2 examples in my head where it's like they had PC versions that didn't have the full game, despite obviously having to have the engine of the game working. So like the only reason why they didn't have the full game is reasons. So yeah, there's no reason why Halo 5 wasn't entirely on PC other than they didn't want to spend the effort into, validating a full port. I feel like if you've done it right from the beginning, you should know that your game works fine on PC. And worst case, you can always just pull a GTA 4 or a Watch Dogs or a... what's another one where it came out in a terrible state and people just expected, like, the hardware to get better? Cyberpunk? Batman Arkham Knight? Monster Hunter Wild. They've given up on the exclusives. Yeah, yeah. Good old Relicanth. We haven't seen Relicanth this whole game, I think. I don't recall Relicanth showing up. Recall. There you go. Oh, yeah. No ice type on the waters. I don't know why I'm blanking out. It's 11-19. That's how you know. I still love like inefficiencies with cheat detection, with DLC detection. Like that's such an obnoxious one because it's DLC detection. It's like, oh, we didn't even need to like go here at all, but we did for some reason. So let's switch to Meganium. Why not? For funsies. Why not? But again, it's like, the reason why people are crying out so much about the memory prices and stuff is because there's been a sudden uptick in, well, one of the prices, I know, obviously, but like, there has been a somewhat sudden uptick in terms of the demands that people actually need for their computers. Rocking 16 gigs of DDR4 really is a struggle for some games. They really like the faster DDR5, and I mean, you know, like, what do you do other than upgrading to a DDR5 platform? It's not even a graphics like limitation, although sometimes you do get ones that may be a little slowed down by the PCIe generation, which if you're using an older DDR4 board, at best you're on PCIe Gen 4, which is perfectly fine, but some people might be on the Gen 3 board. I still had Gen 4 boards when Alder Lake and Arrow Lake came out, which is when they were doing DDR5. It was like, oh no, PCIe Gen 5 was only a top-end feature. And now PCIe Gen 6 is ratified, but when is it happening? I don't know. The Big 80! You have a unique air, but who cares? I care about the air, because I breathe it sometimes. Shobon! Yeah, Final Fight of the stream, because we've been going on for a bit. These mount battles are going on for longer and longer, though, I'll tell you that. Gosh, there's so many dark types I go up against, by the way. It's actually absurd how many dark types there are. So unfortunately, again, with the Entei on this one, so many fire types, but no, dark types are a bit of a doozy. Now, granted, we got 5 Pokemon. Level 52. This might be a bit uphill. If I don't win it, it's like, whatever. You know, we're getting experience every fight. There we go. At least I faked out the right switch one. There you go. Yeah, Cactone's always setting up. He doesn't actually, like, bite you hard with any dark-type attack. Probably only has Feint Attack, actually. But still, it's like, Also, again, it's like, I've got the Sandstorm set up, and it's like, yeah, but your team isn't really, like, built around a Sandstorm setup. Well, I might as well just clear them out, so there's that. But alas, it's like we're still gonna need one more stream to get through the Elite Six, I guess. I tried giving you a bit of false hope and going, oh, you know, we're gonna get there by the end of, you know, beat that one guy that we've always known, and then they just juke you out. They give you the mayor who was there the whole time. I mean, if you recall back, I mean, who was the villain talking to the first time you saw him? The mayor. It was all a ruse, you see, for some reason. You see, the mayor sent you on this long quest to save the day so that he could beat you in public, I guess. I don't know what his plan really was. He could have just stopped you, like, then and there. But, I guess he didn't. He didn't want to. I'm curious about the effort value, so I wonder if someone's gonna like compute my stats and go like, oh, you know, how's your IVs? I'm curious if I have such a low IV setup this whole game. I've just been rocking it the whole time and just like going, oh man, this game's hard. And it's like, because you rolled bad on your IVs. Maybe. But didn't I say the same thing about like when I played Pokemon Sapphire? And it's because I had a bad strategy. Oh, perfect time. Perfect time for a switch out. Rock Band 1 is playable on the Canary. Nice. But is Rock Band 2 and it's like 3,000 DLC songs compatible? I mentioned Rock Band 2. I know Rock Band 3, it supports all of them as well, but it's like... Drop a Reflect, we'll see what happens here. Ah, I'm surprised that Rock Band 2 even is that different of a game. Like how they changed it up so much on the insides. Plant needs his water. That's a fair bit of damage still. Oh, Earthquake's still not going to be fun, but... Not for Espeon. Ooh, hanging on there. Hanging on there. Again, everyone knows Earthquake for some reason in this game. I can't explain it. Yeah, I said hanging on, but I guess not really anymore. There's still one guy after these two, right? Yeah. There we go. I guess we'll swap to Suicune on this one. Go for it, Suicune! There we go. I don't know, using Surf. Starmie's fast, I don't know what's going on. Listen, I need to get at least one Razor Leaf out. They even have Beatles, Rock Band, an extra foot-based guitar drum controller required to play. Oh, that's fair. Although, to be fair, you know, now I know my USB microphone, so I think we actually have a strategy of dealing with it, unless they don't have a mechanism for dealing with the USB devices at all. But just copy that code. I based it off PCSX too. I didn't really do the, you know, I changed bits, but you know, start from something that works. Oh, I don't have any huge demand to do it, so go get your Poke coupons. I'm getting my coupons. Listen, you gotta give me all the good coupons here. There we go. Would you like to go? Nah, I'm good. I'm good, broski. Yeah, let's go back to the counter. I know you don't have to go to the counter. You could just save there, but... you know. Back to the counter. Please come back for more. There we go. Well, we caught some more Pokemon. We didn't beat the game. The joys of not beating the game in time. So hopefully it happens next stream, as well as catching that Houndour. So anyways, I'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this or you didn't enjoy it, that's fine. You can follow on Twitch, 8:30 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Standard Time. That's Australian time, but you know, it's the same time every week until a few weeks' time when it all changes. If you missed parts of this, VOD will be on YouTube, of course. Follow on the Fediverse, m.biendeo.com for good memes and stuff like that. Yeah, other than that, you know, we're back in the full swing. I'm not skipping, for reference as well, I know Easter's in a bit. I'm not, I'm doing a stream on Easter Monday. So, we're not missing out on a stream there. My parents are like, I usually spend the Easter with my parents and they're like, you've been hanging out with us a bunch. And also, you probably don't have leave. And I'm like, I'm not, I'm looking for jobs, bro. But sure, yeah. So, anyways, have a good one, fellas. We beat the 3-hour mark, so at least we got there. Have a good one. Peace. I should really be talking over this just so the DMCA doesn't hit the Final Fantasy VII song. Whoops.